Check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check.
Chief Meteorologist Joel Barnes here. We got our first tornado warning of the afternoon. You can relax a little bit. This storm is well away from our viewing area still, but does include sections of our viewing area. So there's the storm. It's still right along the Mississippi River, but in about 30 minutes, it could be heading up over, looks like very close to Haywood, and then looks like Chester County there, northwest of Jackson. So we've got some severe thunderstorms just to the south of us as well. None of these are rotating enough right now for a tornado warning, and they look relatively weak. That's good. The reason I think these ones are struggling because there's a whole bunch of them together. This one has its own environment. It's its own individual storm, and those are the ones that are going to be most dangerous tonight, the ones that are out by themselves. So here's the storm southwest of Jackson, some gusty winds, maybe a little bit of rotation we're watching southwest of Whiteville. But you notice these colors a lot brighter on the reds and the greens. That's why they have issued that tornado warning for that lone cell, which is out until 4:45. So west of Covington, looks like this one could be close to Ashport. Could be an issue for Dyersburg here. If you're watching us in Dyersburg, you need to stay with us here as this storm is going to be awful close to your area here in probably about 30 minutes. Right now, it's just radar indicated rotation, but definitely some bright colors and definitely some rotation here beginning to tighten up as it's going right over the Mississippi River right now. Looks like it'll stay just west of Covington. Excuse me. So here's a big picture. We've got all these little severe thunderstorm warnings to the south. These are all pretty small right now, but they are probably going to get stronger as they get a little closer here into West Tennessee. This one, again, out by itself. You notice most of these are, in general, they're clusters of little supercells. But these lone ones, that one, this one also is going to do something east of Little Rock. So here, I like what I'm seeing south of us into Mississippi. Most of these are just clusters of storms at the current moment. But you notice here on the Futurecast, they are keeping these thunderstorms around for several hours tonight. Here's another look at one of our storm forecast models, which is showing this cluster of storms coming up here from the south. We'll kind of drop this back here. You notice that it's got them continuing supercells there, 5:30, 6, 7, 8, 9. It doesn't have the line getting caught till closer to 9, 10 o'clock. So we're going to be under this supercell threat, it looks like, for a while tonight. We'll go back up to the radar because we'll get a quick look. Or if you're just now joining us, we do have a PDS tornado watch. When you hear a PDS, what that stands for is a particular dangerous situation. All right, they just issued the other storm now that I showed you, that little bit of small area of rotation. So if you're watching us in Jackson, you are under a tornado warning. All right, so we've got our two different tornado warnings now. I'm still more concerned about the one there over west of Covington, but we have one right now for us here in Jackson. So here's a look at those, that cluster of little supercells there. This is the one that they're concerned about. You see it's got that little hook developing. It does have a storm up to the north and a storm to the southwest of it. May try to mess with it a little bit to prevent it from actually dropping a tornado. But if it can get away from these two little cells as it moves closer into Madison County, there's a good chance that it will produce a tornado. So we've got two different tornado warnings right now. As far as what we can expect for the one that's just got issued for us here in Jackson, you notice right near Whiteville, there is a little bit of rotation. So we're going to get a little closer in on that one that we just got a brand new tornado warning for. That's this storm, which right now, again, the rotation's pretty minimal, but it could tighten up here real quick. If we go back here, a couple of scans, we'll just kind of put a little 30-minute loop on this one so you can kind of see the general spin of that rotation as it's been coming on through. So there's a general look at the rotation. We'll put a tracker on this as the storm is moving pretty quickly. The last we looked, this one was at 55. It's currently moving to the northeast at 50 miles an hour. So we'll go ahead and get a tracker on this one at 50 miles an hour, where that center of rotation is, and to kind of give you an idea of when it will be coming into Jackson. So looks like if it continues this same direction, same speed, it'll be close to 4:30 before it does get into Jackson. But again, right now, radar indicated rotations. Meteorologist Jordan Hubbard is with me as well, and he's going to go over some safety tips for you right now to prepare before the storm gets into Jackson.
All right, folks, when this gets started, you're going to want to have multiple ways to receive weather warnings. Of course, right now, Dyersburg's weather radio is out. TV, you've got us on right now. Your phone, make sure your emergency alerts are on. If you've got it, our weather app, if you don't have it, you've got time to download it. If you're in a vehicle, get out of it if you can. Watch for downed trees or power lines on roads. And if you encounter flooded roadways, and you're going to with this system, turn around. Do not drown. Take shelter inside the sturdy, smallest, most central room on the lowest level of your home. Make sure it's away from all windows, and you want to have on hand batteries, flashlight, water, first aid kit, and all your time-sensitive medication, folks.
All right, let's head back over to Max 1, where we do have our tornado warning out. That's for that storm in Whiteville. Starting to rotate right now, and it's tightening up a little bit. So it doesn't look like there's a tornado on the ground yet, but there could be here with that one within the next 15 minutes or so. Tornado warning out until 5 o'clock. We'll go ahead and put a brand new tracker on this for the center of rotation. Going to send it up here into Jackson. If it keeps the same general speed, again, it looks like it's going to be a little before 4:30 when it comes on in. All right, so there's our other tornado warned storm. This one's a ways away from our viewing area, so we'll get back to this one here. We'll focus in on this one when it gets closer to Crockett County, that is, and then maybe when it gets closer into Dyer County, closer to Dyersburg. So again, there's a look at all the storms that we are tracking right now, a whole bunch of them coming up from the south. All right, so we've got two different tornado warnings. This one right now is a scarier storm than the one that is moving into Jackson, but that doesn't mean it's going to be that way here in about 10 minutes. This one has its own environment. It's bigger. It's got its own atmosphere that it's working with. This storm here in Jackson that's rotating, it's getting eaten up by some of these storms from the southwest, and it's got storms up to the north. But it does have a pretty clear flow of this southeasterly wind, which is coming on in right into that storm, which could help it rotate. So again, we've got a lot of rotation in the atmosphere. So any one of these storms that goes up, not only can they produce large hail, but they can also spawn up a tornado. But I like the fact that this storm behind it's trying to catch it. We want these all close together. The closer you get the supercells together, the less energy they have to work with and produce a large, long track tornado. This one again is, you notice it's all by itself, kind of. It's still got some close, but the one that's moving into Jackson right now, showing a decent hook on it, but it's got some storms trying to come up from the south, maybe going to mess with the dynamics a little bit of that supercell. But center of rotation right now, right near Whiteville. We'll get a closer look here at the velocity and see that I think it's beginning to show a little bit more rotation than it did a few minutes ago. So yeah, it's starting to spin up a little bit. Again, could be close to producing a tornado. If you're in Whiteville, you might be able to see a funnel cloud right now. I'd recommend not going out and looking at that, but it's definitely rotating. There's got to be a wall cloud there, possible funnel cloud. Then this is going to track up to the northeast. I'm going to draw my tracker on this, on the very center of where I think this is probably going to go. And then we'll get a closer look at some of the areas that are inside that tracker zone. So all right, that looks pretty good there. So Whiteville Elementary School, Bethlehem Church, these are locations that are in the potential rotation. Cloverport Baptist Church, Uptonville. Maple Springs, Marshall Chapel, Ebenezer Church, heading up into Mount Tabor, and just south of Bemis. Bemis, you're going to be very close to this, as well as Madison Hall. Let's see, if we zoom this out a little bit, it's going to be very close to probably South Jackson if it continues to rotate in the same general direction. So some other towns that are close, Toon, it may stay, it's going to be very close to Shanty, Toon, Hillville, Denmark, Deanburg, Parkburg. You're all going to be very close, but that area that I have circled there, I think, is the main concern. We'll see what we get on the next radar scan as this tracks up to the northeast. But right now, radar indicated rotation. If this does become a confirmed tornado, the polygon, the red polygon you see there, will turn pink. And then if it turns purple, that's when we have a confirmed large, dangerous tornado on the ground. And if it turns black, which we don't want to see any blacks tonight, that's a tornado emergency. That's when there's a very large, catastrophic tornado on the ground. So we want to keep this red as long as we can on our polygon. So center of rotation right now, right there near Whiteville Elementary School again. Shandy, probably about 5-10 miles or so west of you is that center of rotation again as it tracks up to the northeast. You're fine right now in Fayette Corners. I think it's staying just southeast of you. There we got a new radar scan. Doesn't look any different than the last one. That's good. I don't want to see brighter colors. I don't want to see it tightening up as it comes on through. So some pretty good news, I guess, with that latest radar scan. The rotation situation on our other storm that we're watching also looks pretty good. That doesn't look too bad right now on the rotation of that one either. So again, what's going on here, what I think could save us is the fact that we've got this supercell. Here's the inflow notch, okay? This is where the tornado would develop. We'd get the wind sucking in right here. But there's something called a rear flank downdraft on the backside of supercells that needs to be tamed. Or it needs to be untamed, I guess. It needs to be left alone. When you have something coming up from behind it, messing with its structure, if you don't have a proper rear flank downdraft, you can't produce a tornado. So as long as this one is still kind of impacting the backside of the supercell, I think it's going to struggle to produce a tornado. But if the rotating one becomes stronger and this one kind of fizzles on out and it can get out in front on its own, then it's going to be a bigger problem, I think. But right now, there's definitely some rotation trying to get going with this right southeast of Cedar Chapel as it will head into, looks like Hatchie, very close to that, to Vildo. Cloverport's going to be pretty close to you. This southern one, either one of these may try to rotate as well, but you notice they're kind of in a cluster of 3. We want them to line up. The individual ones are going to be the more dangerous storms tonight, as again, they'll have their own environment to work with. So there's latest on our 2 different tornado warnings. Jackson, I know we're still under the tornado warning, so watching us in Jackson, you're okay now. I'm not saying run to your safe spot immediately. You can watch our coverage here for the next 10 minutes or so and see what this does before you make your decision in Jackson. But again, if you're closer to this, you may want to start thinking about getting into your safe spot, although it is not confirmed as a tornado right now. It looks like, let's head over to Max 2, get an update from Jordan, who's looking at, the storm that I think is a little bit more concerning. That's the storm that could impact Dyersburg in a little bit. Jordan?
Right, Joel, we've got a law enforcement reported wall cloud in Tipton County, and now reporting from Tipton County law enforcement a funnel cloud near Garland, which is just to the west of Covington. We can zoom in a little closer here. It's just to the southwest of Bride, but there's a very, very noticeable inflow notch, pretty strong hook echo on this storm. We'll give you a quick look at velocity. Of course, this is, again, the more intimidating storm of the 2 that have a tornado warning, and the rotation is just a little back off to the west from where the circulation shows up on reflectivity. But again, a funnel cloud spotted near Garland, so if you're in that western tornado warning, definitely going to want to keep an eye on this storm.
Yeah, that one looks, again, pretty ominous, Jordan, right now on Max 1 as well. So that one, I think, is going to produce a tornado. Our one closer to home got some rotation, but I think this one is going to be a little bit more concerning and worth watching. But that storm right now is out of our viewing area. That storm is currently out in the Memphis television TV market. So we're going to get back to that one when it gets closer to Crockett County or Dyer or Gibson County. But we're going to focus in on our Jackson storm right now. That's this one, which is in northwestern Hardeman County right now. A little bit of rotation there. Radar indicated rotation. Again, that's out until 5 o'clock. So get a closer look here at that one. Again, looks like it's now north of Whiteville. You notice when they issued the tornado warning, okay, right there. See that little red east of Somerville? That's when they issued the tornado warning. That's when they thought it might try to intensify and rotate more, but it's really not. It's probably less rotation now than it was back then when they issued the warning. And again, the reason is it's kind of getting eaten up by those other storms. So, but let's get another tracker on this one because it definitely could produce a tornado. Looks like the general direction is moving this way, so it's going to be very close to Jackson either way. So the center of rotation on this. So we're going to definitely have to watch this as it moves up to the northeast. Kind of try to get back in here and make sure that I think I got the right path. All right, so then we'll get back in here to some areas that could be Hatchie. You need to be in your safe spot. Mercer, Vildo, although there may not be a tornado, there could be. So I mean, I'm not seeing it on the radar right now that it's on the ground, but it could spin up quickly. So Hatchie, Mercer, safe spot. Uptonville, Denmark Elementary School, Neely, Huntersville, this is on the way to you, and then again getting close to Jackson here in about 30 minutes or so. So again, radar indicated rotation, definitely something that we need to keep an eye on. Again, the Covington storm right now looks a lot better on reflectivity than it does on the velocity, which is also good. So here's why we have the tornado warning. We've got this little area of rotation north of Whiteville. If you're watching us in Whiteville, your tornado threat, at least as of now, is over. But if you're in this polygon, which it does include Jackson right in the middle of it, we need to watch it. You notice that last radar scan does look a little bit worse than the last one. Still some rotation, trying to get going right here between Hillville and Tune. The way it's kind of spinning up, it may end up going west of Jackson then east, but again, it's tough to tell because it all depends on if it produces a tornado. It may take a little different path than if it just stays as this little supercell. And again, we've got the ones behind it, which are trying to push it as well. New area of rotation is showing up north of Somerville, so that could end up being something that we need to watch now too. So again, here's a look at the timing as it's going to come on through, if it keeps the same path and speed that it is right now. Again, we've got our Covington storm. I do want to take a quick look at that other area of rotation now that I saw showing up near Somerville. That's associated with another little supercell. That's this one. So go back a couple of scans. This one is between Yum Yum and Somerville, close to heading into the Miller area. So there's multiple little areas of rotation we're watching there. And if we kind of switch these back over to you notice north of Somerville, you're going to see where that other little cell is. So, you know, we got, again, I like a cluster of supercells. I don't like individual storms. So if we can keep these as a cluster, I think that could avoid us the worst of it. I know that looks like a donut to you, right, north of Somerville, but that's just where multiple storms are converging together. So I don't think that that's an area of rotation there, although it looks a little ominous on the map. All right, so we've got our couple different storms here moving through each one of these little cells. I like the fact they're staying small. I like the fact that they're all kind of on top of each other. That doesn't mean it won't produce a tornado, but for it to produce a really strong, long track tornado, it's going to have to be its own storm out on its own with its own atmosphere to work with, because you get these ones closer together, it's just really inhibits their ability to produce something. Anything. So looks like we're over here, Covington storm. Again, we'll see when that one rotates. We can get in here on the street level on this, but it's just tough because trying to find where the actual rotation is. It looks like we've even lost some of it here northeast of Whiteville. So I could get down here and show you streets, but it wouldn't do much if I don't know exactly what's going on with the rotation. So if we get a tornado on the ground, it'll be real easy for me to zoom in and show you specific streets that I think need to be immediately going into their safe spot. But when you don't have a tornado on the ground and you got a lot of broad rotation, it wouldn't make much sense for me to zoom in any closer, because we don't know exactly where the center of rotation is or where the tornado might spot until we can spot it on radar. I think this is our next tornado warning coming. There's a couple different areas of rotation here as well. The current area of rotation that spawned the tornado warning for us here in Jackson is right there. So it looks like it's right on the tri-county line there. If there was a specific area where I think the tornado may try, but we're going to have to see some more on the radar before we can dive on in and get a little closer. But again, if you're watching us in Whiteville, Hillville, as of now, I don't see this one being an issue for you southeast of Tune. Should get another radar scan here coming up. I'd like to see if I can get this to go into motion here. So that'll kind of give me a better idea of the tracking. Jordan, the Dyersburg storm is looking a little rougher right now. Let's get a check on that, and I'll reset some graphics for the Whiteville one.
All right, yeah, it does look like it's starting to undergo what we call a cell merger, so it's starting to eat another supercell, and there's another one immediately off to its south. So this is a good sign. Yes, there is a little bit of a donut to the west of Henning. That's where the cell merger is taking place. There's still a little bit of rotation, but again, it's not a whole lot to be concerned about, and we can even point at the old circulation is right here just across the Hatchie River, but again, does not look impressive. We've got a whole supercell trying to merge into the south side of that storm, which is right where, if there was a tornado, that's where it would be. Again, not looking super impressive, which is a good sign. They did just trim this warning. It did exclude the western half of Tipton County, so now it's just Covington, most of Lauderdale County and southwest Dyer County, northwest Haywood County, and southwest Crockett County.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Again, we've got 2 different tornado warnings. We've lost a lot of the rotation for the storm that was warned for Jackson, which is good. I thought that may happen because, again, it's getting eaten up by multiple storms. But there's other areas of rotation that are trying to spin on up pretty quickly. So we'll kind of rack things back up here to the top. And so here's the latest. We've got storms coming up from the south. Cluster of supercells, but you notice how it's kind of beginning to merge into one storm. So if it kind of becomes into one storm and it can get its act back together and reorganize and take all that energy from that cluster of storms and become one, then it has a chance of producing a larger tornado. But right now it's just a cluster of meh. We like that. There's nothing in here organized, nothing in here that looks like it's a problem right now. Again, this Covington storm, it's starting to get hit from a storm from behind it. See, earlier it was out by itself. You get these storms that come up from behind it, catch it, and it really inhibits the storm rotation and allows it to struggle to get going. But we've got still that tornado warning out. Again, just a cluster of little weak thunderstorms currently right now. But lots of rotation. Every little cell that goes up this evening is going to try its best to produce a tornado. So we'll be watching this first cluster. Second one that'll be on the way. Again, the Covington storm that Jordan was talking about, looks like that little bit of rotation there, but I don't think that's a tornado on the ground either. So here's the most concerning area of rotations right here. I know the tornado warning was issued for that area, northwest of Tune, but I'm just not really seeing that going to be a problem at the current moment. But closer look at it, again, it's in the Mercer area, Hatchie, the area of rotation. Definitely not a tornado on the ground. You can clearly see that by what we see on the radar. But there's definitely rotation there. Still, you see through Whiteville when it was kind of spinning up here. So it even looks like it's trying to hook, maybe go more northward, staying west of Jackson. You can kind of see that, which is a good sign. I think if it turns that way, it's probably less likely to produce a tornado, but we'll see. Again, we've got another area west of Whiteville trying to spin on up. So I think this may end up being the next tornado warning we get that's out for the Miller area, but it's not jumping out to me right now, tornado on the ground, but there's definitely more rotation there than there is with the one that has the tornado warning in Jackson. So it looks like our tornado warning, we're getting some new information on it. Jordan, what's the National Weather? Are they going to cancel that, or do they trim some areas out of it? Are they going to move the polygon? What are they saying?
They have removed Chester and Fayette County. That is the only new change.
All right, so we still got our tornado warning. I'll try to get in on the center of rotation there, as you know. So we're there at Highway 138. So again, not seeing much for winds either in this. I mean, Jordan, you seen anything over 40-mile-an-hour winds? I mean, I'm really not seeing anything like that on the velocity right now.
Even in the tornado warning bulletin, they don't have a max wind leveled or listed. They do have 1-inch hail concerns for this, but it's still radar indicated. We haven't had any reports of any hail yet. Of course, I expect that to
Yep.
change with supercells moving through the area.
So if there is a little bit of hail, it looks like that could be near the Hatchie area, but if we take another look at it here, so that could be an issue with some hail, maybe going into Hatchie, that'll be going into Mercer, Denmark. So we may have some hail coming in to Jackson from this storm. Let me make sure I'm only getting one view out of it. Yeah, so again, if I take a look at a different elevation on it, it's small hail at best that's coming into Denmark, Mercer, and Hillville right now. So again, right now I think things are looking pretty good for us as far as in Jackson with this little cell. I know we're still under a tornado warning. That's obviously concerning. A lot of people turning on their TV, tornado warning, and you're watching me going, well, where's it at? Well, if it's not there, it's not there. You know, they issue a warning when they see the rotation. It doesn't mean that I don't know how to read a radar. It just means that what we're seeing, there just isn't any rotation concerns or tornado concern right now for Jackson. But they are going to leave the warning on. Here's the look at the cell that they did issue the warning on. A couple different little inflow notches. Got this cluster of cells. We like the clusters. We don't like the individual storms. But even that one that was starting to produce a tornado, it got caught by a storm from behind it. So it's basically, if you're a sprinter, right, and you're running and you get to maximum speed, if someone comes in and bumps you, you know, you're going to slow down, and it's going to take you a while to get your acceleration and speed back up. That's what happens with supercell thunderstorms. You get a storm, if it gets bumped by one around it, or if you got something around it stopping it from getting its maximum energy, it's not going to produce a tornado. But this one still is worth watching. They still got a tornado warning on it. Again, we do have our 2 tornado warnings. Well, this one that was concerning earlier, but you notice Covington, there's a storm behind it catching it. Rotation there is pretty minimal. So again, we've got a little area of rotation southwest of Hillville. To me, that's a bigger concern than our area here west of Meaden right now. But that's where they issued the tornado warning for is what you see here near Mercer, Uptonville. Again, it may do something in the next 10 minutes, but right now it's doing very little. So again, it could change. You notice that rotation. You can see it when those reds went through Whiteville. That's where it was a little bit more concerning. But now it's just looking like maybe 40-mile-an-hour winds tops with this as it gets closer into the Jackson area. Again, we've got that other area. Watch that one that just spun up. That could be heading into Hillville. So again, if we do get another tornado warning, it'll probably be from that one, which is now close to Fayette Corners. But again, it's not super exciting either as far as a tornado on the ground with that one, but at least we're showing some signs of rotation. So 2 different tornado warnings, no tornadoes on the ground. I don't think any funnel clouds right now. I don't think any wall clouds right now. But so we're going to pull up this camera that we have out of Covington, which can show you that other storm, I believe. Okay, we're showing our downtown Jackson cam. Anyway, so that's the Jackson cam looking towards. You can see some lightning off in the distance for that. So there's a look at what we have with that storm that's coming on in. Obviously, we're going to look to the southwest. That's where this camera's looking. There's where it's awful dark off in the distance as that storm comes on in. Again, right now we're probably looking at maybe some 40-mile-an-hour winds with that cell as it comes by. But again, 2 tornado warned storms that we're keeping an eye on. They're probably just the first of several tonight. So don't go too far away from the TV or your phone because there's probably more of these warnings that are going to be coming on in. And it's going to be dark and it's warm and humid, and that's going to continue, it looks like, for the remainder of the night. So again, Jordan, anything on? They're going to leave this warning through Jackson with no rotation?
I've not seen anything about them canceling it. The only thing they've mentioned is the storm in Tipton County is showing some side loam contamination. That's just looks like rotation, but it's not actually rotating. What I do have, however, is a 1 3/4 inch hail report from Henning in Lauderdale County from Lauderdale County Emergency Management. And a 70-mile-an-hour wind gust at the Memphis International ASOS.
All right, that we definitely thought that one was pretty, you could see that hail. Watch this. Let's go ahead and take out the lightning and the lightning counter, and then we'll go back to this one. You could see the large hail as it came right through there you know, that north of Millington. So that was definitely some large hail right through Gilt Edge. But that storm since then has weakened. It looks like this is hail west of Meaden, but if we look at specific location on the radar, all right, so that's our at least something interesting. That looks like some decent hail, which is on the way to Jackson. So if you're watching us in Jackson right now, if you got time, get your car in the garage. I think you have some hail on the way. Yeah, so that scan just changed in the last 2 scans. So we're going to stick on this hail here for a minute. Make sure that inside this hail that there's no rotation, and then we'll give you some areas I think likely to be hit by this hail. Let's just make sure that nothing spun up there as well.
Joel,
yeah,
we've got a confirmed tornado near Mercer.
Okay, let's see.
That is in southwestern Madison County.
All right, so
rotation's not tight, but it's there.
Okay, okay. Well,
yep.
All right, we'll stick on it. I'm not seeing anything on our radar showing rotation, but there must be a law officer or somebody who saw that.
We have a slight debris drop on correlation coefficient if we take max 2.
Okay.
I've got it circled.
All right, so Jordan is going to show the debris product. So there could be a small tornado there near Denmark or Neely, although the rotation is really not showing up on the velocity. If you or anyone that's in the path of that, you need to seek shelter immediately. So that's going to be Neely heading into Madison Hall, South Jackson. You need to get in your safe spot right now if you're South Jackson. Again, I wish I could see exactly where that is, but I'm going to pull up the debris product, and then maybe that'll give us a better idea of where that is. So, Jordan?
We've got a new debris scan. It looks like it may have lifted or weakened. It has moved a little bit to the northwest. There's still a slight drop, but it's not, I mean, they're still going with the confirmed tag, obviously, so we need to keep a very close eye on this.
Okay, so again, if you're in Jackson, head to your safe spot right now. I believe what the National Weather Service is looking at is this. We'll go ahead and circle it on the max. So I think it's this little green area that we're seeing. You would say this, Jordan, right here, west of Madison Hall. Is that what you got?
They
on
were
yours?
hinting at just to the south of Neely.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, that's down here. Okay, so there's that. It showed up for 1 scan and then it was gone. So all right. So that's what they thought, or they suggesting. That's why it's a confirmed tornado right now, north of Uptonville. But it's gone, so it came in for 1 scan, and then it disappeared. Let's see what the velocity looked like at the time in that area. So when we go back a couple of scans, so yeah, it didn't show up at all on the rotation product. Maybe it's too far away from the radar, but that's good news that we do have this debris tracking product now. Jordan, I want you to keep a close eye on the CC drops on these, because if we're not seeing them on the rotation, that may be another way that we can see that. So that again, if it was touched down, it would have been right there near Uptonville, and then tracking into Neely through Westover. That looks like West Jackson, maybe out towards the airport if it continues to go into that direction. So. All right, I'm going to try to put, I guess, a tracker on where it's going. That's this. We'll go up into this general direction. All right, so Denmark, Neely School, Golden School, Ariat Church, those locations you need to be in your safe spot right now. So we'll go ahead and highlight that. So that's where we think the rotation was. And so we'll move this up a little bit further north. So if it continues in the same direction that where we saw that little area of spin up on the debris product, those are the locations that it would be coming out into. So looks like west of Jackson, Huntersville maybe. So we're going to stay on the debris product here for a few, since we're not seeing anything at all on the velocity product. Jordan, anything from the National Weather Service? They just said they confirmed it because of what they saw on the debris tracker,
Yeah,
right?
radar confirmed on correlation coefficient. Where they're also upgrading it to golf ball size hail, up to 33,000 feet.
All right, so if it's still rotating or on the ground, it would be near Huntersville. If anyone is in that area that where we talked about where the tornado may have touched down, if you have any damage, if you could let us know here at WBBJ or the National Weather Service, those reports help us out a lot when we're dealing with stuff that's difficult to see on the radar. So if there was a tornado that did touch down, like we showed you there where that was possible debris, we would love to hear from you. So that again was right here, right there. So that's where there could have been a tornado near Uptonville. So if you're near Uptonville, and if you have any sort of tornado damage, please call WBBJ and let us know, or reach out to the National Weather Service so we can have that information. So again, Jackson over to Huntersville. This is where if we see that debris pop up again on the next scan, we'll know that there could be a tornado on the ground again. So that's west of Huntersville. If it did spin up, it was a quick spin up, probably a real weak tornado because we couldn't even see it on our velocity, which detects rotation inside of a storm. But again, we've got a couple different ways of looking at them. And when you get a cluster of those supercells, they're all kind of coming together instead of just one large individual storm. It's more difficult to track those on radar as well when you got like 5 different storms that are all coming together. The individual supercells, though, those are going to be the more dangerous ones. The ones that, again, are out on their own, those are the ones that can produce large, long-track tornadoes. You get a cluster of supercells, you're probably looking at EF0 type tornadoes, maybe EF1. So, again, there's our little area we are watching east of Huntersville. Jordan, is that what you would think, east of Huntersville there, if that is any sort of debris? It'd be between Huntersville and Westover. Looks like maybe heading into Windy City, Young's Crossing, 3-way. If you're in that area, you just may want to just get in your safe spot just in case. I'm going to try to find it on the velocity here. We'll take a couple different looks at some things. And so there's on the velocity, north of Neely, Westover. So right there, you notice that was probably when it did touch down, just for a brief minute, south of Neely. So we went back a couple of scans near Uptonville, and then we had that one scan. See where that red popped up at Neely? So it probably touched down for maybe a couple of minutes, and then now it's still heading up. So if you're watching us, Westover, West Jackson, Carroll, Windy City, 3-way, could eventually be coming your way. So I'll put another tracker on that. Again, so here we are, right that general direction. So here's a couple of communities that if it does try to spin up again, that's where it'll be going. So we'll stick on this velocity scan again. We'll watch it there. Again, west of Jackson, we got a little bit of what we think was a spin-up tornado. Still waiting on any reports called in from the people that were impacted by that area here to WBBJ, or waiting on any reports to the National Weather Service. I think if we had any sort of damage, I believe the National Weather Service would know about it, or we would know about it. Jordan, nothing in the chat, right, about any confirmed damage from that possible spin-up?
Nothing yet. We do have a bit of a lowering on our downtown Jackson camera. I can pull that up.
All right, let's take a look at the camera.
They are removing the observed tag, so we're just going back down to a regular tornado warning.
Okay, so let's go ahead and look at our Jackson camera. So try to get a good look at that. I believe that's what we're looking at there. I can move the camera some, so just be patient, stick with me here for a minute, and we'll move our camera. And so anything up north we are looking, all right, so that's more west, I think, where there would be that rotation. So can't really see it on our camera, but that looked like some little bit of concerning, lowering back over here as well. So we'll watch this. We'll see if these clouds do lower it all on through as they come by. So we'll watch that. All right, back to the radar here. So good news that what they did confirm on radar, maybe it wasn't on the ground, but we'll find out here soon enough. All right, so we've got area southwest of Jackson. That's where watching for potential spin up again. If it does, again, it looks pretty weak. but we would rather have them looking weak. We don't want to see those big bright colors show up on our velocity, which is a good sign that there is a tornado on the ground. So, but starting to get a little bright, little tight there, southwest of Jackson. So we're going to keep that tornado warning active, obviously. We may be keeping these warnings active for the next maybe 4 hours. We could be covering tornado warnings. So just heads up on that for tonight. We're going to be covering storms. So again, Neely, Madison Hall, again, right there is where we think there could have been a touchdown. Right south of Neely, it showed up for that one scan there. So if you know anyone that's right there, Denmark-Jackson Road, maybe reach out to them and are between Neely and Madison Hall and just make sure they're all right. Make sure that they didn't get hit with any sort of tornado. Go back to the debris tracker again because it showed up on that one scan right there, I think it was, near Uptonville. So again, I think a lot of that, what you're seeing, that's not debris. What you're seeing there popping up, that's just not what we look for. But near Hunter's, right there, so that's when they think there may have been near Uptonville. So if you're in Uptonville, let us know if you got any damage from that, or Neely as it's now moved up to the north. All right, let's kind of rack things back up here from the top, and then we'll check with Jordan here in a minute. A lot of lightning with these two storms. We've got some heavy rain. Looks like the hail it's like that's come down a little bit west of Jackson as well. So, but there's probably some small hail through the airport west of Jackson right now. Then we've got our storm there near Ripley. So these are the two tornado warned storms right now. Both of them are just radar indicated rotation, although we did have that National Weather Service believes there was a brief tornado touchdown southwest of Jackson about 10-15 minutes ago. Still not a lot of organization with these supercells, but it's not going to take much tonight. There's so much rotation in the atmosphere that even the smallest storms could produce little tornadoes. We want the storms to stay small because if they do produce tornadoes, they're likely to be small. You get a huge individual supercell. Those are the ones that can produce the long tract F3 or EF3 or greater tornadoes. Those are what you don't want to see as one big individual supercell. So it looks like we've got a new warning coming. That's for this one. That's a severe thunderstorm warning for the cells coming up from the south. And there's another tornado warning we're watching south of Moscow. So we're going to go ahead. All right, let's pull up our Jackson cam because you can kind of see these wispy clouds that are showing on up. So we've got you know, they're trying to lower. Each one of these little areas is trying to drop down. Jordan, why don't you see if you can pull off the banner on that so we can see those clouds a little bit. I'm going to reset my graphics and you can show the people what you're seeing there on the cam because it's kind of neat. Go ahead, Jordan.
All right, folks, we have some reports of I can bring the stream down a little bit and drag it. But yeah, there's a little bit of a lowering coming into southwest Jackson. We've got our eyes on it. We do have an update concerning the Lauderdale, Dyer, Crockett County warned storm. It is going to be allowed to expire, but right now our eyes are on Jackson. We've got a wall cloud moving into the southwest side of town per the National Weather Service.
All right, let's stay on that cam for another minute or so. I'm trying to get set these southern supercells, which are now beginning to come on up from the south. One of those now has a tornado warning on it as well, so we're going to have to keep a close eye on those ones. So let me kind of start on those. We'll get them up. Those are still about 45 minutes away. There's one near Ripley, south of us, heading into Bolivar, Selmer. So we'll get to those when they get a little closer. Let's get back and kind of focus here on Jackson. Again, if you're in the Jackson area, you just probably want to be in your safe spot right now. Again, we're not seeing anything jumping out, large tornado on the ground, but there is a wall cloud being reported, and there's a ton of rotation into this, tons of southeasterly winds into this storm, which could allow it to rotate pretty quickly. Again, right in here is where we'll be watching. So we'll go ahead and flip up the velocity on this area and then see if anything new is showing up, because it got right there near Westover. So that's where that rotation is. So if there was another touchdown, it's going to be right around Westover right now, heading north probably in three-way, so just west of Jackson. Three-way, if you're in three-way, you need to get in your safe spot east of Humboldt, between Humboldt and Medina. Consider getting into your safe spot. You just need to watch this again, as it could drop down a tornado. I'm going to try to move our camera here, Jordan, and maybe we can see that a little bit better. All right, so we can't get any higher on the camera. We can't tilt it up any higher, but that's pretty ugly thing. Go ahead and head back to the cam, and you notice Jordan will try to get that pulled back up here in a second. Let's see. All right, so that's definitely interesting right there. Do you? Jordan, you need to zoom that out. Okay.
This camera is not ours. I can't move it.
Okay.
This is the
Midtown
Jackson camera on top of the hospital.
All right. Well, I can pull up the Jackson cam because it's got a pretty neat view right now. So we'll go ahead and pull that up. You can kind of see the little area, the little tail that's trying to come on down there. See that on Max 1? Do you see that little tail that's kind of coming on in? We'll kind of move the camera here a little bit further to the, there we go. So you can kind of watch that. I believe that's that rotation that we're seeing on the radar, which I'm going to go back to and pull up our velocity here in in Jackson, because it looks a little bit uglier now than it did 10 minutes ago, even when we had that what we think may have been a brief spin up. So heading back over here into Jackson, there's definitely some rotation there between Westover, Jackson, heading up into Carroll. Go back a couple of scans, they're starting to see a little bit more red show up. So there could be a tornado trying to touch down right into this area. I'll circle it for you right here, and that's going to move to the north. So eventually heading up maybe near three-way. So if you're watching us in three-way, Carroll, Gilmer, probably need to start getting into your safe spot. Again, it's not a confirmed tornado right now, but there's definitely a lot of rotation. Jordan, I'm going to grab a drink of water real quick. Let's head to Max 2, and you can kind of give us a quick update.
All right, so folks, we're going to keep our eyes on this storm. The circulation looks to be passing close to the airport, right around where Highway 70 breaks off from the bypass in West Jackson. So if you're just to the northeast of Westover, that circulation is going to be passing close to Hollywood Drive very soon, which would include parts of West Forest. So the hospital, you're very close to this. The Campbell Street, Wallace Road, Carriage House, North Parkway is going to come close to North Parkway Middle School, North Royal Street eventually, Dr. F.E. Wright Drive even farther downwind, and then eventually it'll cross I-40 near Liberty Tech High School, the ballpark at Jackson.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and you can look at the Jackson cam now on Max 1. That's what we're looking at. Definitely concerning. That's some rotation there. That's a wall cloud. And you see the stuff below it. Okay, you see the stuff that's down here. So this is the wall cloud here. Here's where it's trying to rotate. So this is where it would try to drop a tornado if one did come out. So we're going to stick on this for a minute, but the radar is beginning to get a lot more interesting here in West Jackson, as well, as far as the velocity is beginning to pick up. So decent shot that this is going to produce a tornado as it moves up to the north. But right now, it's a little high. If this is a little lower, it'd be a bigger concern, I think, for a funnel to come out right into that area. So we're going to continue to watch it. We've got a lot of people in and around watching these storms as they come through. I'm going to move the camera here a little bit so we can continue to stay on this as it comes through. All right, so we will get back to that camera shot here in a minute. Do want to get the latest on the radar situation. So, all right, so we do have that tornado watch remains in effect. Okay, we're going to pull up the camera here 1 sec. System's lagging behind. So, all right, so Jordan, I'm going to let you get the radar set up, okay? And then so we can switch back from the radar to the camera. So here's our wall cloud, our rotating storm, where it's going to try to come down. And then this is looking just west of Jackson. Now let's switch over to Max 2. Jordan has the velocity product pulled up. I believe, and that'll show where, so this is where that rotation is. So this is what we were looking at on the camera, right along Highway 40. So that's right over Van Drive area, moving up to the north. So what you see there, now we'll switch back to the camera, and we'll show you that this is what you're seeing on the camera is what you're seeing on the radar right there, just northwest now of Jackson. So that's going to move up to the northward. A lot of low-level rotation. If there was a tornado on the ground, I think we could see it right now on our camera. But I think this is just a lot of rotation that's going to be moving up, again, right up Van Drive, up into Carroll, and then eventually up towards Three-Way. So if you're watching us up in the Humboldt area, you definitely want to keep an eye on this as it's moving up to the north. Again, there's a second area. Look at this, Jordan, another area of rotation just now showing up southeast of Denmark. So we've got two different areas. All right, we're good there, Jordan. Just leave it there for a second. Northwest of Jackson, we've got our rotation, and then another area now south of Huntersville, each trying to spin up. So again, if you're South Jackson right now, you're okay, but this second one may come on in. So don't go anywhere. Keep it here with us, just in case these do tighten up or this one does drop a tornado on the ground as it moves up to the north of Jackson. So Jordan, I'll let you go ahead, or let's head back over to the cam one more time. There's a little bit lowering that you see right here. See this? So we'll stick with this camera here for a minute. All right, looks like we have lost power.
Took a power hit.
All right, I think we're back on. All right, we've got this area of rotation here, this is where the tornado would drop. So we're going to stay on this camera here for a few minutes. We could show you the radar all we want, but when we have an actual view of it, you don't need a radar, right? When you can see it with your eyes. So there's our area of rotation we're watching to the northwest now of town. So I'm going to see if maybe I can get a little closer in on that. So give me a second. See if I can move over the camera, zoom it in here a little bit. Let's see, let's try this. All right, so there we go. And now we'll tilt it up. So, all right, so there's a closer look at it. That little area of, so this is all rain you see here behind it. But this is a lot of lightning. So this is where that wall cloud is. This is where a potential tornado would drop right here. So as long as we're seeing this and it's still up in the sky and not on the ground, we're pretty certain that there's not a tornado on the ground because that's what we're seeing. That's the rotation on the radar. Go ahead, head over to Max 2 real quick for Jordan. Jordan, you got some streets lined up?
Yeah, all right, folks. It's right on top of Hopper Barker Road, East University Parkway, Cooper Anderson Road, Old Medina Road, heading towards Oakfield and Carroll, where it'll cross near Ashport Road. Again, there's not a confirmed tornado on the ground, or not even a radar indicated. We'll show up the debris product, and it's showing all reds and oranges, which is a promising sign for right now. Again, rotation still quite elevated in Jackson, but we're going to keep a close eye on this. We're going to get a new scan here shortly, but again, if you're near Old Medina Road, Cooper Anderson Road, East University Parkway, Ashport Road, you're definitely going to want to take your precautions now before it's too late.
All right, let's stay with Jordan for another minute here on his Max. Jordan, do you want to show the reflectivity and see if we can see sort of any sort of notches or anything like that are showing up with that?
We do have a bit of an inflow notch, but there's not really a defined hook along with the storm. But if there was, it would be just to the south of Gilmore, right where it's just got like a finger hanging off of it. Again, it's just to the west of Liberty Tech High School and crossing I-40 right now.
Yeah, I think that finger that Jordan was talking about, you can see it now on Max 1. I believe that was what we were watching, trying to lower down. You can head back to the. All right, so we got the rain coming down here in Jackson. Those sirens are definitely ominous, right? But we do have, this is starting to organize itself into one storm, okay? So all those little clusters of supercells are beginning to come into one. So the area that we're gonna have to watch is right north of Neely right now. Madison Hall, Bemis area, Westover. It may not produce a tornado before it moves out of your area, but this up north here could try to produce a tornado just north of Jackson near Gilmer and Carroll. That's definitely, that'll be rain wrapped, so we wouldn't be able to see that, so that's kind of dangerous. and then potential rotation right here as well. So you see the two areas of rotation, the one northeast of Neely, that's this, that could try to spin up a tornado now as this becomes, I think this is probably going to be a little concerning, this area right here. That's where that finger was coming down. That's where we may get a tornado. I don't think we'll be able to see it though on the camera because we're going to be dealing with a lot of rain that looks like it's going to be coming on through. So, but I'm going to pull that up. So, all right, so two different areas of rotation. If you're in Jackson area, I would just, I would be getting into your safe spot right now. Again, we've got multiple areas of rotation that are trying to go up. This is a crazy looking storm here on the radar. There's like 3 different areas of rotation. So this is some heavy rain coming on down right now out at the airport. Pretty crazy looking velocity signature here all over with this storm. This entire storm is really trying to rotate as it comes on through, and there's 2 different pockets that have me concerned right now in Jackson. The first one is here. This is from Carroll over through Gilmer. Let's head back to 1, please. So on 1, we got 2 areas of rotation. That's this one between Gilmer and Carroll. Okay, this is just north of I-40. This could be a potential tornado beginning to develop. And then we've got another one, which is down south here, southwest of Jackson. That's where that little finger's coming out. That's into this area. So you notice as the whole thing came through, here's our number 1 area of concern, okay? That is tracking just to the northeast of Jackson. Looks like it'll track between Humboldt and Cedar Grove. Looks like that one is trying to produce a tornado. And then we've got this one, which is just to the south as well. So we've got 2 different areas of rotation. You kind of see it pretty well on the radar. So you can see the 2 different inflow notches on this storm. Okay, so we've got this one, this tail, this bothers me right here, okay? This I think is going to do something here in a little bit. But we've also got an inflow notch here coming into the top area of rotation. So we've got potential spin up here, and that hook is probably going to do something here soon. So we're going to have to keep a very close eye on that. We can't see that on our camera, okay, because we're looking through all the rain right now. But 2 different areas of concern with that. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our debris product and just make sure that I assume the National Weather Service is very on top of the debris product right now. That's how they caught that they think was a spin up before. But all right, so nothing yet on the debris on either one of those, but we're definitely going to need to keep pulling that one up. All right, so kind of going to re-rack things back up here. Just kind of give you an idea of everything that's going on, and then we're going to focus on those 2 areas of rotation. Down south here, we've got more storms on the way, folks. These are right into the Mississippi border. These are all going to come up from the south. This one will be heading into Hornsby, it looks like, here in about 30 minutes. Got our 2 different areas of rotation on our Jackson storm. A little bit of weak stuff right now through Halls and Trenton. But now even 3 inflow notches showing up. So basically all those little mini supercells have conglomerated into one storm. This entire thing is rotating. That looks like some hail just showing up there, maybe west of Jackson. Yeah, that's definitely hail beginning to show up. So this is a supercell genesis. What is happening right now is all those little cells are now become one. This is going to try to turn into a large supercell thunderstorm and could become extremely dangerous as it tracks on through. Here's a look at it. There, Westover, here's where the southeast flow is going to be coming on in, which is going to try to help this whole thing just kind of continue to rotate as it spins on by. We definitely got some hail probably close to just north of the airport. And then Westover, there's probably some rotating clouds right above you in Westover. There is some rotation still here east of Carroll, north of Liberty Tech. So these are our 2 areas that we're watching. So neither one of them right now looks like they have a tornado on the ground, but those are 2 different areas of spin that is trying to do something as they're coming on in. So tornado warning remains in effect. So here's a look at our velocity. We had that first area. This is where they first issued the tornado warning, was for that, which is still spinning right now. That's where there may have been a very brief touchdown southwest of Jackson, according to the debris tracker. And then that's moving up. So that's going to stay east of Humboldt, east of Medina. I'm going to go get a closer look at who may be impacted by that here right now. So that's our most concern at this exact moment is this cell. So again, there's definitely rotation north of Oakfield. on just east of Old Medina Road. It's going to go up through Spring Creek Highway. Should stay just east of 45 through Goat City, Lavinia. It's going to be close to you, and Withorn and maybe Terry. So that's what's left of that tornado warning, but it's probably going to be extended because it's still rotating pretty good. So I'm going to get a tracker on that little area, circle it for you so you know what we're talking about. It looks like it's going to stay just east of Medina, and then we'll kind of push this out here. So there's a look at some areas that may be dealing with this if it does try to spin up and produce a tornado. So you'll notice Terry's in there, Lavinia. So these are some other areas that are going to pop up inside here. State Route 152, King Creek Highway, Highway 220, Highway 104 West, Hopewell Baptist Church, Westview School, Terry, Carter Chapel. So again, we're not saying that there's a tornado on the ground right now, but that's some pretty intense rotation. And then there's really intense rotation beginning to start southwest of Jackson. So we've got our two different areas that we need to watch. I'm going to try to go ahead and pull back up on our camera here in a second, because we definitely do have some rotating clouds showing up. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those for you here real quick. So this is what it looks like from our downtown camera in Jackson right now. It looks like this is probably a wall cloud right here, but it's tough to tell without being able to zoom it out a little bit more. We're watching. Look how fast the clouds are moving. This is a very powerful little system that's coming on by. I'm going to zoom out our camera a little bit here so we can kind of see a little bit more as to what's going on. So you'll notice some very fast moving clouds off in the distance. So we're watching these. I don't think either one of these are a traditional wall cloud where they're going to produce a tornado out of them. But we'll be watching it closely as we spin through. We'll leave it up on the computer, Jordan, for sure. And I'll let you keep an eye on that. Do want to get back to the velocity, though, inside this storm, which is just to the north of Jackson. So, all right, we'll get this one to pull up, and we'll see that little area of rotation right there. So, so that's northeast of Carroll right now, and then this southwest of Jackson's awful interesting as well. Jordan, anything from the National Weather Service on these two little areas of rotation right now?
2 minutes ago, they said the rotation in Madison County continues to look worth watching.
Okay, I agree 100%. We need to continue to watch both these areas. We just got a new scan there. That's good. Lost a little bit of brightness on the northern rotation. Southern area, though, did gain a little bit of speed on the winds and a little bit more instability. So
we do have a new tornado warning coming in. It'll be an extension of the one currently in Madison County due to numerous reports of rotation from spotters and chasers.
All right, so that's probably going to include you folks in Carroll and eastern Gibson. All right, did that just come through, or
that is typing up now. It's going to extend all the way to the Tennessee River.
All right, so that's going to include you in Carroll County, Benton County, Henry County, as it tracks up to the northeast. Again, this is a lot of rotation, just not a lot in one area. So again, this entire storm is trying to reorganize itself and become one large supercell thunderstorm. That's not what we want it to do. We liked when it was a whole bunch of little ones, because the little ones only produce little tornadoes, but a big supercell can produce a really big tornado. And this is going to be the area worth watching southeast of Jackson as this thing organizes itself here, I think, in the next 15 minutes or so. East of Medina, there's a little bit of area of rotation. We may have avoided a tornado touchdown there, Jordan, because when the National Weather Service confirmed that, I think that there would have to be some reports of damage right now,
right,
if that was a tornado touchdown. So maybe they were missed what they saw there on the debris tracker. So, all right, tornado warnings are going off on your phone right now. That is for the new tornado warning that's just now being issued. And Jackson, we are still in that warning. So brand new tornado warning, that's this one. We'll get that pulled up. That's at 5 p.m. That does include Carroll, Gibson, Henderson, Madison counties. Radar indicated rotation, tornado up to golf ball size hail with this one as well. All right, this is what it looks like out at the airport. Just east of the airport is definitely concerning. So again, ooh, we got some good lightning on our cam here too. So when we're done with the airport, we can go ahead and pull up our cam there, and looks like we've definitely got some rotation there. So all right, so what you're seeing here off in the distance, that is that backside of that storm that was rotating. That area that I told you we need to watch for a possible tornado. We've got some higher level clouds here, but I did go back to that airport cam again. I don't have to be on the screen for that to describe that, if they still got it. Basically what you're seeing there is the backside of that cell that is trying to spin up. You see those low level clouds you see there off in the distance. And that is where I think we're trying to organize itself. So you're looking over here. This is the backside of that system that is trying to rotate. I'll try to get back over here as if they can show us the camera off to the east or south, I believe, a little bit. I think we're looking west right at it. So see these little udders that are trying to come on down here. That's where I think the storm is trying to produce another wall cloud as it spins on through. But that's going to be the area I think that we're going to be focusing in on over the next 30-45 minutes, is that southern area of that storm. All right, we can head back to Max 1 again. We'll show you some of the clouds here in town, and then we'll get back to the radar. I'm starting to even see the sun maybe try to peek through a little bit here in Jackson. So that northern area of rotation, like what I'm seeing for you folks in Lavinia. See that down near Jackson, it looked a lot worse when it was trying to spin up there, and now we've lost a lot of that. So I think the tornado chances are pretty low for you right now in Lavinia. But if you want to be safe, you can head to your safe spot, Lavinia, Withorn, Howley, Leech, and we'll see what it does when it gets closer to Humboldt. There's definitely still rotation there. Just there may have been, right there, Carroll, Gilmore. It was looking pretty ugly there a few scans ago. That's why I was a little bit more concerned. But right now, it's starting to lose a lot of its rotation. But there is a huge area of rotation sitting right over Jackson right now. So, and when this passes, at least our threat's going to be over here for a little bit. But we'll stick on this one until we see another scan. Again, I believe if this was producing a tornado right now, we would have it on camera from some of our cameras, or somebody would be reporting it. But this is the area where I think when this tracks up to the northeast, this is going to be the location I think that's going to cause us the most problems. But it's going to take a while, because remember, this storm, it was 4 or 5 little storms about an hour ago, and now it's trying to turn into one big storm and absorb all the other ones around it. And that takes some time for it to reorganize itself. But there are such high ingredients right now to produce these supercell thunderstorms that a rare event like that, where 5 storms can become 1, is possible when you're dealing with a high-risk event like we are today. So again, this may take some time, but this is definitely a storm we're going to have to watch pretty closely as it tracks up to the northeast. Jordan, do you got anything pulled up interesting worth showing right now?
I've got some reports. Other than that, we've got a report from our very own meteorologist, Mo Shamel, sent a picture of quarter-size hail in North Jackson. We've also got a report from WTWO that is quarter-size hail falling in North Park in North Jackson as well. But again, the storm right now is definitely worth watching.
All right. Right. So we've got a bunch of these new storms down to the south. Why don't we go ahead and pull up the downtown camera here, Jordan? Definitely some spooky clouds that way for sure. So we'll continue to keep that up as that cloud line comes by. I'm going to reset some radar graphics here and see if I can get us some new rotation or something showing up here on the radar. So I tried looking at it at our Camden radar. It's a little far away from that yet, but it's getting close. So so we'll see with that. We've still got, I think, some small hail potential northeast of Jackson also showing up with this storm as it comes on by. So all right. Starting to it's trying to kind of set itself, this storm in Jackson, to where it can move to what I would say is a more favorable environment. But at the current moment, that storm is looking pretty good as far as not producing a tornado. Again, that could change here in 5-10 minutes. As we've seen here earlier, things have spun up pretty quickly. So Huntington, I know you're under the tornado warning. The storm's probably about 20-30 minutes away. So we'll see what it does when it gets closer to you, but it definitely has this strange looking tail showing up now east of Jackson with this storm. So let's see. So there's a look at our rotation with that. Get in a little closer. It's all very broad, but you do see a ton of bright colors. So there's probably some 60-mile-an-hour winds trying to reach the ground in that little area of rotation. All right, the northern rotation area, Lavinia, that's completely gone. So that's good. So I'll focus now on that the southern area of rotation with this storm, which is our most concerning aspect right now of that system, is what's southeast of Jackson. We're starting to see a pretty decent inflow notch trying to return on that. Not seeing anything on the debris, which is good, but I do want to get close in on that. So here's our little inflow notch, which is now showing up with this storm right there. So that's near Liberty Tech, northeast of Liberty Tech and Claybrook. That's going to be the area I think we need to watch. All right, I'm going to head back to the weather wall. We only have one tornado warning right now, okay? That's this one for the storm, which is moving northeast of Jackson. In the next 5 minutes, our threat's done in Jackson for now. But that doesn't mean we're done for the remainder of the night, because there's still several storms we're watching down here to the south that still have to move on up. But right now, those are behaving themselves. So up north, here's our Jackson storm. Looks like the heavy rain has wrapped on up here for now, but we've got this little inflow notch east of Liberty Tech. This is where we're going to try to see some rotation develop from this storm. It's going to be down there. It's not a classic looking supercell right now. It's going to take some time still. Remember, it was a whole bunch of little storms becoming one. So every minute, though, it's going to try to rotate a little bit more, organize itself, and become a more dangerous storm as it moves over into Carroll County. But right now, you're fine in Huntington, Clarksburg, Wildersville, but you need to watch things very closely. You need to stay with us as the storm does move through. So there's a look at it. There's our little inflow notch. So if you're watching us in Jackson, I think our tornado threat is done for the current moment. Although we're still under that tornado warning, the storm looks like it's now northeast of Liberty Tech now, heading over into Claybrook, at least the area that's rotating. See that? Those are bright colors. This is probably going to produce a tornado. How long it's going to take could be anybody's guess. Could produce one in 5 minutes. It could be 20 minutes. But I think this is our most likely area to see something organize itself to drop a tornado as it's heading close to Claybrook. So if you're in Claybrook, you want to head to your safe spot along 40 here northeast of town if you want to be safe. Blue Goose, as that's starting to get a little tight there for my liking. So that includes Law, probably stays just east of Cedar Grove. So you'll see that first area rotation's done. That's the one that's heading up now east of Medina. Now we've got our second area, which is on the back side of that storm, and it's going to move pretty close to parallel to I-40 for a little bit, and then maybe go north of I-40 by a couple of miles. So that's again, what we'll be watching is that little notch right there east of Jackson for some potential tornado development. The debris tracker, not seeing anything concrete yet, but we'll be watching the debris tracker closely here over the next few scans, just in case this does touch down. So again, we did have earlier, the National Weather Service did say that they confirmed a tornado on radar. We still have not heard, any reports of damage from that area. So obviously some good news there. Let's head back to our camera. Check out our camera now. Let me show you this. Looks pretty neat when you're looking at all these wispy little clouds coming on down here. Look at these things. So we've got all these little wispy clouds off in the distance. You see all these little kind of udders trying to come on down here from those clouds, and that's just due to all that rotation that we're dealing with right now in the atmosphere. Jordan, anything new from the National Weather Service about that little inflow notch area?
They're saying it's a little side lobe contaminated. They're going to continue the warning for the time being just because it's been attempting this entire time.
Okay, 1 second.
But also, there's a storm moving into Memphis very soon that they're considering sheltering for. In the event that happens, we're going to have to meet up with the National Weather Service in Nashville for our information for the rest of the night, or until they come out.
Okay, well, that's a severe thunderstorm warn cell there for them, not a tornado warning. So we'll see what they decide to do with that. All right, down south though, we've got a couple of clusters of thunderstorms that are heading our way. We've got this one southeast of Memphis, and then we've got this other one that we're watching south of Savannah. But the general direction of this one, I think, is going to stay east of Savannah. If we track it, it's going to be close. I think it stays just east of you in Savannah. We've got this other one we're watching down near Hornsby, which just seemed to have disappeared off the radar. Oh, because must be on the Camden radar there. So there we go. So we've got this little cell near Hornsby. But let's get back up to our storm now that has us the most concerned, where we got that little cow udder on the backside there, northeast of Jackson. Again, I know the sirens are still going off in Jackson. There is no longer a tornado threat in Jackson right now. Northeast of Liberty Tech, that's the area that we're still watching. This storm will be out of Madison County here in about 5-6 minutes. And it's going to be an issue for Carroll, Henderson County as it tracks up to the northeast. So we're trying to get a couple different radar views at this so we can see, get the best look at it. So again, it kind of depends on which radar you're looking at. The Memphis radar shows you that hook. You get up to radar to the northeast there. Jordan, what radar is that? The one?
That would be Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Yeah, Fort Campbell. So we got Fort Campbell. And we're going to start to look at this a little bit now with our Camden radar. So this is what our Camden radar is showing with it. It's still little ways away from our Camden radar, but as it gets a little closer, we're going to get a real good look at this. Let's pull up our velocity on the Camden radar, and right now it's not showing a whole lot of rotation. Again, it's a little far away from that, but there's our little area worth watching, and you can see it pretty well on the velocity product that there's definitely some bright colors. The National Weather Service is calling that some side lobe contamination, which is good if that's all it is. I know it's a fancy term. It just means that bright colors on the radar, not from general rotation. So, all right. So here's a look at that storm as it spins on up. I still think it's worth watching here as it moves out of Madison County. Looks like that northern rotation through Lavinia, Cedar Grove is right there. It's probably some gusty winds with that, but now moving east of I-40. This thing still could try to produce a tornado as it tracks up to the northeast, as this area has been pretty much untapped so far with that supercell. You notice here's the end of the Memphis radar, those purple lines that you see there. So kind of looking outside here in our Jackson camera, I'm really not seeing a whole lot right now with that, but if Jordan, if you could pan that up to the northeast, we might be able to see it. But again, we're probably looking through, the back side of that storm. So that'd be right here. I think this is looking up to the at the back side of that little storm as we're looking up to the north. So kind of neat looking, some low-level clouds, but tough to say if that's exactly a wall cloud or not this far away from it. But I think we're probably okay. So we're still under a tornado watch tonight. That will continue until midnight. So we'll kind of get that pulled back up for you here on our on Max 1. So here's our tornado watch. We still do have our tornado warning. No confirmed tornado on the ground, but definitely still some rotation with that storm, which is now northeast of Jackson. We'll be moving out of Madison County here soon. But our PDS tornado watch issued by the National Weather Service is out until midnight. So we're not done yet. There's a lot more storms on the way. So again, and these are all still out in front of the main line. The main line's here. Remember, we talked about the main line probably wouldn't catch the storms till 8, 9 o'clock. Guess what? It's only 5. So, we've got at least 3 more hours or more of watching these little cells trying to come on up from the south. And each one of these has been trying pretty hard to rotate. Again, as long as we can keep them close together in clusters like this, that's good. Any one that develops out on its own and becomes one individual storm, those ones have a better chance of producing a large long track tornado. So east of Bolivar, we got this little cell here. It's been struggling to do much. Cedar Grove, probably have some small hail coming on in to Cedar Grove right now. There's our little inflow notch north of Claybrook. where the storm is. If it does try to do anything, it's going to come out of there here in the next 30 minutes. But it's not a real classic looking supercell right now, which is good. But again, it didn't start out that way. It started out as a bunch of little storms. Again, probably some small hail showing up there in Cedar Grove. But not seeing anything saying that there's a tornado on the ground. Should be able to pull up the velocity here right north of Claybrook. We'll see what that shows. So there's definitely rotation there. So this is, I'm glad they kept the tornado warning on this one. That's definitely worth watching as it comes through. There's something trying to get going here through Blue Goose, Claybrook, Law. But again, if there was a tornado on the ground, we would know into this area. It'd be easy to see because obviously there's, if you live down in Crucifer, you'd have a perfect view of it. If you were looking up to the northwest, you would definitely see if there was a tornado there. There wouldn't be any rain to block you from seeing it. That's why supercell thunderstorms are the favorite storms to chase of storm chasers, because you can usually get a good view of them if you stay just to the southeast of them. They're usually not rain wrapped. Sometimes they are, but usually not rain wrapped, where you can actually see the tornado and be in a safe spot. Where you want to be, though, on these supercells is to the southeast if you want to view them. You don't want to be to the northeast where they're going to come in. You don't want to be to the east, and you don't want to be to the west because you won't be able to see it. You wanted to be up to the south, so that way you could look, let's say from Luray, you could look right up into that area of rotation. So that's, again, our debris product. Not seeing an anomaly. If we saw just like a bright blue ball, a circle, or a bright white circle, would give us an idea of some debris. This, though, right here is not showing what we'd say is debris, but some significant rotation. So I bet you if you were in Luray looking to the northwest, you could probably get a pretty cool view of that right now. Also, if you were, let's see, in White Fern, I bet you could get a good view of it, and Crucifer to see that little area of rotation. I wouldn't go outside if I was in Blue Goose or Claybrook or Mount Gilead. I would probably be away from windows just in case this drops a tornado. Maybe coming towards Wildersville, we'll get the general direction. It looks like it's going to track right along, if not north of I-40. Again, not seeing tornado on the ground, but definitely some rotation, probably some really cool clouds in this area that we're going to circle here. And it's eventually going to track up to the northeast here. So that's where it's going to be going, is in that general direction. So looks like Holly, there's a little bit of rotation there for you, but it's on the wrong side of the storm, I think, to produce tornadoes, but we'll see. So it's on the back side of the storm instead of the south side, which is kind of a strange spot. Wouldn't you think, Jordan?
Yeah, there's an area near Cedar Grove that is that's got the National Weather Service's attention as the main rotation for that storm. But again, it's in a weird spot.
Yeah, I think that was, they issued that about 5 minutes ago? Or is that right now?
That sounds about right, the
yeah,
latest
you
reissuance.
see this right there. That's what they're looking at near Cedar Grove. See that as it came through? So I believe, I don't think this new little thing that we're showing up is what they were talking about, but maybe. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll leave this scan here for both of them. It would be a strange spot on the backside of a storm to produce a tornado. They're usually on the south or southeast side of the cell, but we'll watch both those little areas for potential rotation heading into Clarksburg and Wildersville. We'll stay with it. We still got our tornado warning out. We're still going to be tracking storms, I think, for a while tonight. And even if this one tornado warning gets canceled or it expires, you're probably going to see plenty more of us tonight. By the way, thanks for you that are joining us now on our Facebook Live. We are now doing live coverage on Facebook for tornado warning coverages and severe weather. Also on our YouTube app, or YouTube channel. We have a WBBJ YouTube channel. You can obviously watch us on TV, ABC, CBS. You can watch us on our app. Both apps, the news and weather apps. If you scroll down at the bottom, there's a link to watch live coverage, and plus our website, WBBJTV.com. So that's 7 different ways you can watch our coverage. So when you're dealing with events like this, you can have us on TV, but then just make sure that you do have us available to pull on your phone, just in case we tell you that you need to get to your safe spot. That way you can pull up our coverage on your phone, and you can watch it as well. So 2 different areas of rotation with this storm. It's now out of, just now moving out of Madison County. That's the Madison County corner right there. So now we're moving into Carroll County, and it looks like northern Henderson County as well. There, Wildersville, right along I-40. So we'll continue to watch those 2 little areas. I don't know if we've got any of our news teams that are out still into the area that could get a shot of those clouds. But if they do, we'll try to pull that up. Go ahead and pull up our cam here. This is I think that's the storm we're looking at here, off right here in the distance, because you see that. I believe that's some rain. I think that's at least one of the storms there we are watching off in the distance. And some cloud cover. Things have calmed down a lot right now, though, here in Jackson compared to where we were at a few minutes ago. So, all right, we're still watching these two spots on the radar. That's the Memphis's radar look at it. That's Fort Campbell's look at it. So, again, tough to say. So we got 3 different radars getting a peek at it now. So, again, we got 2 different little. Again, that area near Cedar Grove just doesn't seem to me in the right spot. You get a huge supercell. I guess you could spin up a mini tornado anywhere inside the storm, but traditionally, with these storms, the tornado is formed closer to where you get that little hook section. All right, that looks like some pretty decent hail. Let me see if I can cut down on the radar image of that. So yeah, that's some hail between Cedar Grove and Jumbo. So that just showed up 1 scan ago. So you got hail coming in, probably Jumbo, Scott Hill, Clarksburg, Leach. So the fact that there's some hail showing up shows you that this storm is still strengthening. So it's not dead yet. And it may be even getting stronger. Try to find some locations inside this little hail core. So there we go. Stanford Lane, Morning Sun Cemetery Road. Looks like you got some hail coming in if you're on Excalibur, Snapbean Lane, Strike King. Looks like there could be a little neighborhood right there. Water Tower Road heading up into Scott Hill. So it looks like just east of Cedar Grove in that neighborhood, you probably got some hail coming down, maybe as big as quarter-size hail even, coming down right now on Morning Sun Cemetery Road, New Bethel Road, Logger Lane. So it looks like a neighborhood there east of Cedar Grove. So that's, and the hail's being detected on all the radars. So there's definitely hail inside there in that storm. Jordan's keeping an eye on the rotation there. Jordan, we got a new scan showing anything exciting there on Max 2?
It's been a few minutes since we got a new scan. Our last scan came in at 5:08, or at least that's the Paducah radar. Paducah radar, in my opinion, had the best look into the backside of the storm. But if we pop out all of the radars back onto it, it doesn't look as impressive from Memphis or Hopkinsville or Nashville even, but it's kind of in a bit of a gap. Our Camden radar is the closest look at it, and there's a little bit of rotation on Camden radar, but again, Camden radar struggles to shoot through storms, but it's done pretty well when it's on the backside of storms.
All right, we got a brand new radar scan showing kind of a double little inflow notch now, showing up to the south of this storm and some large hail. This is getting up to probably larger than quarter-size hail that we're seeing showing up right there. Excalibur Trail again, Buggy Branch. This is going up into the Jumbo area along Highway 424, Collins Lane, Water Tower, New Liberty Church, Scott Hill. If you're in Scott Hill, if you can get your car inside, that would probably be a good idea. So, but I know you're probably getting rained on right now too. So, Clarksburg, this hail's coming into Clarksburg. If you're watching us in Clarksburg, I think it would be best for you to get in your safe spot. We have our own news teams also in here today. Obviously, it's 5 o'clock. We're going to go over a little bit of news with Brad Douglas while we're watching things on the radar. Brad?
All right, thank you very much, Joel. Just a reminder for you, during severe weather, it's very important to stay safe. We have a list of some of the locations you can go around West Tennessee. Many of the communities will be subject to flooding. We have a list of those as well this afternoon. And as a matter of fact, Carroll County with the Sheriff's Office in Huntington, Bethel University's Library, Jackson-Madison County Regional Airport, also the Carl Perkins Civic Center. These are shelters you can go to. Gibson County Sheriff's and Police Department in Trenton, also the FEMA building in Milan, and most Gibson County Special School Districts schools you can go to. And we have a full list of those that you can go to on our website. Just go to WBBJTV.com and click Scene on 7. Also, with severe weather in West Tennessee, several officials urge residents to take caution. Several of the low-lying areas are prone to flooding, including Westover Road, Roberts Station Road, Sleepy Hollow, Concord Cades Road, Parsons, Harrington, Sandridge Road, all the main roads in Carroll County. Also in Friendship, Emerson, Eaton, and eastern parts of Hardin County. Utility providers are also preparing for the storm's impact. Gibson Electric, Jackson Energy Authority, along with Southwest Tennessee Electric and Chickasaw Electric have announced that they are closely monitoring the storm and have crews on standby to respond to any of the power outages.
They need to be really monitoring the weather constantly because things change quickly. And he's making a plan now. You want to go to a shelter, you have a place in your home that you can't get, you have your own shelter, you know.
Also, we'll continue to monitor the situation as it develops and keep you updated with the latest information. Let's go back over now to the 7 Storm team to find out the latest on what's going on right now. Joel?
Yeah, Brad, we got a brand new tornado warning. It's for the cell southwest of Bolivar. So as I said, we're probably not done with these storms yet in Jackson. So that's we'll get a closer look at that one here coming up. It's in a cluster of storms again, which again is good. But you'll notice the general direction of this one. Watch this. If we go and put it in a loop a little bit, it may be moving in a slightly different direction from the other ones. They may be going more north. This one's tracking to the northeast. So we'll go ahead and show you the velocity on that storm. So again, that's our northern storm. Here is our new one. So there's the little area of rotation. So just spun up in the last 2 or 3 scans. So it had nothing, and then now we've got a tornado warning on this one. So this is what we'll be watching real closely. It's south of 45 right now, this storm is. So definitely need to keep an eye on it as it spun up really quickly. So this one in general is going to be tracking to the northeast. Let's get you the information on it. This is a tornado warning out till 6:15. Does include Benton, Chester, Fayette, Hardeman counties. Looks like it does not include us yet in Jackson. So, but it looks like it's going to be close. So, all right, that storm is moving at 50 miles an hour to the northeast. So we'll go ahead and get a tracker on this one at around 50 miles an hour. So some of you that are in the path can kind of get a general idea of when it's coming in. All right, it does include some sections of Madison County. It just does not currently have Jackson. So there's a look at the timing for some communities. Bolivar is in this, Meaden, you're all in the path of this. If it continues to keep the same direction that it is, so we'll go ahead and get a look in here. Some of the communities that may be impacted if this continues. One of the first places to be will be Hickory Valley. You need to watch this very closely. Maybe start consider getting in your safe spot. Middleburg, Newcastle, Sugar Hill School, Bolivar Community Hospital, Shandy, Tune. So a lot of these places that got close to that last storm again need to start watching this. Maybe even Meaden. It'll be close to Jackson again. So every radar scan we've gotten on this one over the last 5 minutes has showed more rotation than the previous scan. So this is just in a 10-minute period. It went from nothing to some decent rotation. So first it's going to move into, looks like, Fayette County. Then it's going to be Hardeman County before it gets close to Madison and Chester counties. So we'll be watching it closely. We'll see if we can get a debris tracker on this as well, just in case we do see some debris showing up. That maybe, I mean, we'll see. We'll watch this for one more scan on the debris there. That little green spot southwest of Grand Junction may be worth watching for one more scan. So we'll stick with it here. I don't want to forget about the northern storm as well. We'll get back to that, but this is our brand new tornado warning. Again, if you're in the path of this storm, you may want to seek shelter. So maybe, I mean, this is questionable if this is debris or not. I'm going to say no right now, but we'll see when it gets a little closer up towards Grand Junction. Jordan, you got anything pulled up on that, or are you still kind of just keeping an eye on the velocity?
I'm keeping an eye on velocity just because it did have that little green speck when we pulled up the debris product, but there's also a little bit of range folding right in the middle of the rotation, so it's hard to tell if it's actually a velocity couplet or not until we get the next scan.
Yeah, I see that as well. That little, when he's talking about range folding, that's the purple area. When you see purple on radar, call that range folding. It's just basically a radar air. But again, if you're watching us in Bolivar, Meaden, please keep a very close eye on this. It could bring a tornado your way here in the next 15 to 30 minutes. The cell we were talking about earlier near Savannah, I think that stays just to the east of you. This little one we've been watching near Luray and Henderson has really struggled to do much of anything at all. And here's our northern storm. It's definitely producing some hail, and it's got a pretty significant little inflow notch on it as well. We're kind of looking at it in between weather radars, but there's definitely hail probably on the way to Huntington if you are very close. It's probably going to be passed just south of Huntington, so there's going to be some hail between Huntington and Clarksburg. So if you live along 22, looks like into the Hilliard area, you've probably got some pretty decent hail, it looks like, that's going to be coming on in. Probably quarter size or larger is what I'm seeing here showing up. Look at the difference in the radars. Here's one radar, and it's showing you the hook with the hail, and then the other one, it's got a smaller hail core and then a more pronounced hook. So, you know, you can get a lot of looks at these sometimes when you're trying to determine exactly what's going on. I like the rotation, though. It's very minimal. I don't think there's much of a threat at the moment for a tornado for you in Huntington or Clarksburg, but looks like definitely some hail on the way and probably some 40, 50 mile an hour winds, at least with that storm too. So, all right, so that's the latest on the northern storm. Let's head back here to our new tornado warning. That's this one that's showing up. You notice the storm's kind of taking the same direction. There's a cluster of supercells though down here. There's not just the one that's tornado warned, but another one into Memphis, another one north of Holly Springs. So hopefully these other cells will kind of steal some of the thunder away from our tornado warned storm. But if it can get out on its own towards Bolivar and this stuff stays more north, then it'll have a better chance of producing a tornado. What I do like about today so far is it seems like we don't have much of a cap at all anymore. You want minimal cap or extremely high cap. You don't want semi-strong cap, because that's when you only get like a few storms that break the cap, and then that's when you can lead to those long-tracked, large tornadoes or a storm that can be on the ground, you know, for 4 or 5 hours. When you get a bunch of little ones breaking the cap, again, it makes it harder for one to take over and really do damage. So far, I like what I'm seeing with the way things are popping up tonight. Obviously, we don't want tornado warnings, but we knew we were going to get warnings tonight. What we don't want are EF3 or greater tornadoes, which can often happen when you're under a high risk. But that one definitely is rotating west of Grand Junction. And again, I know we're not out of the blue yet. Remember, this just started. We're going to be dealing with these till at least 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock. And then we've got a line that's going to maybe produce some spin-up tornadoes as it comes through as well. So there's our latest, again, interesting maybe on the debris tracker, but it's just not, it's a little too much. You know, it's just not one small area. You can't have debris this big unless we had a massive tornado on the ground. We're looking for a little small spot of debris showing up when it first starts. So we've got, again, this storm southeast of Savannah. I think it misses you. I know we've got people watching us in Hardin County. We've got our storm here northeast of Henderson near Luray, and then this one up to the north still producing hail. So we've got the 2 different tornado warnings. I don't think either one of them has a tornado on the ground right now. Definitely not this one up north here, but it's got a pretty wicked hail core right along 22 between Huntington and Clarksburg, probably quarter-size hail coming on down, and there's a lot of lightning. So it's a strong storm. It's just struggling to rotate. And you even notice that little tail is now on the back side of the storm. It's when you get the tail on the front side where it's more concerning. You get a tail on the back, that's too far away. That's probably just the rear flank downdraft showing up, which is good because you don't have tornadoes that come out of those. Tornadoes come out of the wall cloud section. There is still some rotation though in and around Clarksburg, so we definitely need to keep an eye on it. A couple different radar views looking at it, but it's not really in the right spot. You'd want it here, out here, instead of on the back side there. If we were expecting a supercell thunderstorm, the rotation would be there. Instead, it's kind of showing up back here. Which is good, because that's not really how supercells produce tornadoes. All right, the debris with this is quiet. It's quiet right now in Jackson. So I'm going to step off here. Got a couple graphics that I probably ought to get rid of that are not relevant anymore as the storms have moved out of the way. Jordan, what do you got on Max 2?
I'm still keeping an eye on the Fayette County storm. It's showing some signs of starting to tighten up even more, especially near Hickory Valley, between Hickory Valley and Pattersonville, so right along the Hardeman-Fayette County line. Starting to look a little concerning, but again, still nothing screaming intense rotation, but it is showing signs of tightening a little bit. Again, there's not much of anything on the debris tracker, but still starting to get an inflow notch. Doesn't really have that V notch that we look on the top of the storm that would really indicate an intense updraft. But again, we've got another storm right behind it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the one behind it, and then what's going on in northern Mississippi behind all of that?
Just a bunch of supercells going up all at once, competing for the same resources.
So that's good. That's what we want to hear with these. Again, that's the best case scenario with this is, again, you either have a super weak cap or a super strong cap. The weak cap is what we have going on right now, which is allowing all the little storms to kind of go on up. So, but here's a big picture. We'll go back to Max 1. We got our 2 tornado warnings kind of following the same path. We've got one up into central Illinois, another one into southeastern Missouri, but our tornado watch remains in effect now till midnight. So although I don't think we've had any tornadoes touch down yet, although again the National Weather Service did say they had a tornado confirmation on radar. We've yet to see any damage, but that doesn't mean there wasn't. It may have been in a very rural area where nobody lives and picked up a few trees there. But we haven't heard any reports in the National Weather Service chat. We haven't had anyone call WBBJ about storm damage there. So as far as we know, there have been no tornado touchdowns right now. Now we've got 2 different supercell thunderstorms that we are watching. Let's go back down to, there's 3 little storms all kind of together. And again, the good news is with our tornado warn storm, it's got this one behind it really blocking it. Again, when you get one storm out by itself, okay, it's like a figure skater. You can bring your arms in, you can spin together really fast. But if you try that and you got a figure skater next to you and you try to spin really fast, what are you going to do? You're going to knock into them, you're going to lose your symmetry, and you're not going to be able to rotate the way you want to. So that's why we want these rotating storms to have a friend with them to try to steal their thunder. So still some rotation here, very broad, but should have a tornado warning on it. I think the National Weather Service is good to leave that up. Looks like we're getting a new tornado warning probably for that second supercell next to it. Yeah, so you see that's what's going on right now. You got the rotation southwest of Moscow. So we've got 2 tornado warnings, each one of those little supercells. Let's hope that they cancel each other out, fight with each other, and neither one produces a tornado. But there's so much rotation tonight that any little cell is going to try to produce a tornado. Again, we want small cells. We don't want big ones because big ones can produce big tornadoes. Small ones can only produce usually EF0 or EF1 tornadoes. So looks like there could be a confirmation here, maybe. Again, maybe some debris, maybe not. But we've got our 2 different areas of rotation, so we'll watch them tonight as they come on through. I'm going to head back over to those storms there because we've got the 2. Jordan, why don't you give us the new information on that new tornado warning that just came out?
All right, this the second supercell here is in a much less populated area, moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. I've drawn a track out for it. Hayes, it'll be there in a minute, so you've got time now. Go ahead, head to your safe space. Williston, you've got 15 minutes. Laconia, it'll be there at 6:05, and then the next town it'll impact is Vildo in northern Hardeman County near the Haywood County line. And again, southeastern Haywood County is included in this warning.
All right, so there are some places now that are under 2 tornado warnings for this. Again, 2 different tornado warnings for the same place in some of these areas. That's pretty rare, but look at it, you got 2 spin-up locations right next to each other. So it kind of gives you an idea of just the type of atmosphere we're working with tonight, that within a matter of minutes, any one of these storms can spin up. And I don't like the fact, though, that these 2 have gone up so quickly now that maybe the atmosphere is becoming a little bit more charged up for these storms to get going. Sometimes it just takes something very small to change for these storms to go from supercells not producing tornadoes to supercells producing tornadoes. But again, we want them small, we don't want them big. So again, back to our big picture here, and then we'll get to those those 2 supercells that have lined up right on top of each other. Man, I'm happy those 2 are on top of each other and not one of those by itself, or we could be in for it here in Jackson. So I'm glad they're right next to each other right now. That doesn't mean we're completely safe in Jackson, but if this was just one storm out in front of itself with the atmosphere we have now, these are maybe a F4, EF5 are not out of the question when you have the conditions we have today. But again, we want them to kind of stay together, hang out together. We don't want some individual cells. It looks like here's our main forcing line for rotation currently. All this stuff up to the west is really struggling to rotate. So here's the main rotation zone. It's going to cut us from Bolivar to Jackson to Camden. So as these storms continue to come up tonight, I think here's our main concern for rotation. Now, if you look up to the west, there's still some thunderstorms, but that's all along the main line. We're really not seeing anything going up now along the Mississippi. Tiptonville, you've got one coming on up for you, but it's not rotating. It's not an impressive storm. So our main concern tonight is going to be this access from Camden, Jackson to Bolivar, down into northern Mississippi. That seems to be where the strongest storms are going. And I just saw something kind of I wanted to get back to. Look at this storm. Remember the one I told you was beginning to, that came through Jackson that we needed to watch? It's starting to turn to the right. You see that? The good news is it's going to run right into those other storms. The bad news is when these start turning to the right, that's when they're starting to try to really produce a large tornado. So that one we're going to get back to here in a second and see what it's doing up there. So before we get back to these other ones. So there's definitely, again, some hail in Buena Vista up there with that storm, Clarksburg, east of Huntington. So let's see, we'll check out the rotation there. Still some rotation with that, still pretty broad. So this is looks like a pretty good hail producer of a storm, but at the moment it's not producing a tornado. So a couple more views of that. That's some big time hail. That could be golf ball size or larger now when you see the pink showing up near Smyrna Road, Ball Creek Road. So it looks like it did produce some pretty intense hail over into the Hilliard area, Garrettsburg, Buena Vista. But this is the largest hail we've had so far of the day showing up on the radar. So right there, heading into Ball Creek Road. So generally these are moving to the northeast. So Robinson, if you can get your car in the garage, it may be too late if you haven't done so yet, Brewston, and then Camden. So if you're watching us in Camden, you may want to get your car in the garage. I think you got some big hail coming into Camden here real soon. But with this northern storm, what I don't see is really any rotation saying that there's a tornado. We're looking at it. Let's go ahead and I'm going to take a look at our Camden radar on this and see. It may have trouble seeing it through all that hail though, and rain that's coming down. But we'll go ahead and pull that up and see if we can see anything in there. So all right, so there's our Camden radar looking at the velocity. Not really seeing a whole lot there, which is good. So not seeing any rotation on that radar either. So that's what we got. We've got some pretty ugly hail that is now east of Huntington. If you're watching us in Huntington, your tornado and hail threat is done. Same in Clarksburg, but it is going a little bit further to the east. All right, so let's see. Man, that's some pretty large hail. That's pretty impressive heading into Brewston. So Brewston, Camden, please get your car inside if you can. Stay away from windows. You get this type of hail, you're getting up to golf ball size. It can even take some windows out on houses, let alone denting some cars. So we're also seeing some hail. Let's head over to Max 2 real quick. Jordan's got some hail showing up with that southern supercell, and there's also a pretty ugly looking tail and inflow notch developing on that too, Jordan.
Yes, this Fayette County storm is starting to look a little more impressive. Also, it's starting to interfere with the leading storm. Although it has developed a bit of that V-notch, it doesn't look nearly as impressive in the hook. But yes, it does look like right around Highway 76 between Williston and Moscow, we're dealing with some pretty sizable hail, but especially just to the west of Highway 76, right outside of the tornado warning polygon, or at least of the first tornado warning polygon. There's some pretty sizable hail. We've been getting reports of golf ball, up to golf ball, but we've also seen some reports of up to baseball size hail with these storms down in Mississippi.
Oh geez, so yeah, I mean we could have some pretty massive hail on the way. So Futurecast is showing these supercells continuing till only about 8 o'clock, so that would be good if that that continues. Maybe these last ones coming up from the south or the last ones that we're going to see. All right, so let's kind of take a tour here and show you everything that's going on. Here is our look at that line that's going to come through around 11 o'clock. That's going to be some gusty winds as well. So here are where the tornado warnings have piled up. Got, again, 3 of them here in West Tennessee right now. Our PDS watch is out till midnight. Jackson, we're right on the edge of another potential tornado warning. It does include areas southwest into Madison County. So we've got that hail maker moving up into Camden, and then we've got hail and rotating storms down here, Moscow, Hickory Valley, and Bolivar. So let's start with the southern storm. It's lost some of its rotation. Why? Well, it's got a friend next to it, stealing a little bit of its thunder. So there's what's left of that rotation, Hickory Valley, and the rotation down here south. Also not looking super impressive right now. That's good. What's happening is we've got 2 storms fighting. So, you know, you get 2 storms fighting over energy. Sometimes they can't get going. So, but there's the 2 areas of rotation. Each one, they look like twins, right? Do you see how they just kind of come through? They look very similar, spinning off to the northeast, but they're not going to be producing any tornadoes unless they can get away from the other one. Or if they do, it's going to be a very quick spin-up tornado. All right, so down south here, Savannah, you've got one little shower we're watching. This cell that we're watching near Luray is pretty much falling apart. And woo, that's some hail through Buena Vista, Garrettsburg, that's going into Robinson, very close to Brewston. This is what could be coming your way in Camden if it continues. So pretty ugly hailstorm there. A little bit of inflow notch, but I think this one's going to be a hail maker as it continues to track to the northeast. It's just missing some ingredients. The further east of us you go, I think the low level rotation's a little less than it is, let's say, here in Jackson to produce tornadoes. But we'll see. Still a big storm, still a supercell as it comes on through. Again, if not a lot of rotation, there's a little bit southeast of Clarksburg. But nothing to say that there's a tornado coming anytime soon with that one. It was rotating, though, again, as it did move through Madison County. That's why they put that tornado warning on it earlier. But looks like a lot of hail right now, and maybe some 50, 60 mile an hour winds, especially inside that little hail core, is possible. So, all right, so here's a big picture. We've got tornado warnings down south. Look at this, though. Look into Mississippi. It's very quiet right now. After these storms come through, we might be getting pretty lucky here. We'll see, as long as these stay in clusters and not individual cells. If we can keep them clusters, we'll be okay. There's a couple of tornado warnings along the main line, so we're not done with the tornado warnings even after the supercells threats pass. We've got this potential spin-ups along the line as well. And look at all the severe thunderstorm warnings. This is all still coming on in later tonight, probably after 10 o'clock in Jackson. So once the supercell threat's over, then we'll focus more in on that line of storms that's coming on by. But no tornado warnings east of the Tennessee River right now, so that's good for the Nashville area. It looks like they're so far struggling to rotate out that way for them. So we'll go back, check out our tornado warned storms. Again, let's see what's, looking good. They looked a lot worse a few scans back. Right now they're just general rotation. I think the one near Moscow is rotating a little bit more than the one near Hickory Valley, but neither one of them screams a tornado on the ground to me right now. Jordan, where are you seeing those hail pictures that
this
you were flashing
meteorologist Mo Shamel posted this in the Weather Service chat from Jumbo. It looks to be, I dare say that's tennis ball size.
Can you get those built? And,
yeah, it would take me a couple minutes, but I can get those built.
Why don't you try to get some photos built into the system for us that show the hail and any storm damage that we've seen, so we can let people see. Because I'm interested in just how big that hail is that's heading into close to Camden right now. Because I bet you there's some big ones in there. So all right, Savannah, you're still looking pretty good. Let me look at this at a different radar. Savannah, so I think this one's going to stay just to the east of you, so that's good. And those 2 tornado warned storms are also going to stay west of Savannah. So our friends in Hardin County are looking pretty good right now. But there's back to our hail. That's south of Brewston, Robinson. We got a little inflow notch here, again, trying to do something, but this would have to be further south. Okay, usually look towards the south section of a supercell, not the west side for rotation. It's kind of a strange looking cell here. If we could take this whole thing and turn it a little bit, then it would have a better chance of producing a tornado. But as long as this is so far on the back side of the storm instead of the south side, I don't think this one's going to produce a tornado. But it's definitely got some hail and a pretty intense little area of wind trying to come on in. So we still have our tornado warning out. It's now, is that a new warning, Jordan, that just came in, or did they just trim it?
They just trimmed parts of Fayette County out of it.
So they took area, or in Carroll County. They took
Carroll County, yes,
they
that
took
one was trimmed
Clarksburg
too.
out of it. You're still under it in Camden, and it's still got, again, that little floppy tail, so it's still trying to rotate behind that hail core. Again, it looks like a classic supercell. If it was tilted a little bit this way, then it would be a very classic one that could produce a tornado, but it's just still kind of a little off. But we still do have that area of rotation northwest of Halliday. No talks of a tornado on the ground that I've seen from the National Weather Service chat. I can go ahead and try to take a couple more looks at this. Maybe our Camden radar can finally get a decent look at it as well. So, but again, the radar beam from Camden is shooting right through that hail core, which could definitely contaminate the view that it's going to get. So, all right, so there we go. Not much for rotation, and you notice when it's shooting right into that hail core, it's struggling to return anything back to it, which is pretty normal when you're dealing with. Look at that hail. The Camden radar is shooting right through that when it's trying to look at the rotation. So let's pull up the Camden radar on reflectivity. Yeah, it's almost getting an error message because it's about to get hit with big hail. So, all right. So again, we'll kind of watch this a little bit as it moves into the Camden area. If you are in Camden, I believe that's Leap or I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but there is large hail coming in right along 70 right now. Some of the areas getting that Sawyer's Mill, Old Brewston Road, Sandy Point, you got some hail coming. So West Camden's about to get it with some pretty big hail. We'd love to get some reports about the size of the hail that's coming on down, or if you get any pictures, but do not go outside and get pictures while it's falling. Wait till the hail's moved on out. Do not want to get hit in the head with golf ball size hail, trust me. But again, not seeing rotation for a tornado there, but there's definitely an inflow notch right around Robinson. So probably some real spooky clouds after that hail's moved out. If you look up in the sky, you probably see some rotation there, but it's not anywhere near the surface. So again, there's our hail core. Almost looks like a lima bean of hail. So, all right, one more look at that general rotation in there. Again, this is why we put the Camden. This is why we have the Camden radar, folks. Okay, because this section is so far away from the Memphis radar that this is what you get. You know, you can't. This doesn't show much of anything. It's very difficult when you get this far away from a radar to get a good look at it, especially the lower levels of a storm. So that's why we got our special radar in Camden, is because we want to be able to see lower into the storms that are getting into, let's say, places like Carroll County near Huntington. We wanted to give you extra good coverage there, so that's why we have access to that Camden radar. But right now it's looking directly through a hail core trying to see the storm. So, but that's why we got it. This is just not great view. It's tough to, none of this is tough to read as a meteorologist or see when it's all clustered together like that. It's just, I mean, you can even go back a couple of scans and, you know, it just, see how better it looked. And then once it got a little closer, now we've just kind of getting some not great radar data. But if there is, we're watching that near Gizmonda, Birdsong Heights area, the Birdsong Marina. It looks like you've got a pretty gusty storm on the way, maybe some hail mixing on in too. Now they did go ahead and reissue this as a severe thunderstorm warning. See this? This is a severe thunderstorm warning out till 6:15. They did not reissue it as a tornado warning. the tornado warning will expire in 10 minutes at 6 o'clock. So, so they've decided it's still got large hail. Actually, I'm kind of curious as the wording on the warning here. Let's see. Oops. I don't want
2-inch hail and 70 mile per hour winds, I believe is what they said.
All right, so 2-inch hail, that is bigger than golf ball.
That's that'll be egg size.
Egg size hail, yep. So we've got egg size hail coming into Camden. So you folks maybe want to get your car in. Obviously, no one's outside dealing with that right now. But big hail maker, and still got that floppy tail on it, that little inflow notch on the. Again, it's just not quite in the right place, so that's why it's not producing a tornado.
We've got a report of a funnel cloud on the storm near Bolivar.
All right, so let's get back down to our Bolivar storm here. Our two different tornadoes. Look at those 6, 7 supercells right there, all little guys fighting over each other. So there's some rotation coming into Bolivar right now. Definitely, yeah, that definitely could be a funnel cloud. We've got the bright reds and some greens next to each other, and we've got our little southern storm. So again, if you're in Bolivar, probably should be heading to your safe spot right now, as this storm could drop a tornado down any minute. It'll be very close to probably right through Bolivar, maybe a mile or west of Bolivar, but very close to Bolivar coming through. We're probably gonna, let's see, be an issue maybe for Toon and Meaden. Again, it's still radar indicated, not seeing anything that classic to me says tornado on the ground with it, but it could produce one any minute. Again, they don't take much when they got what they're dealing with today's setup. So a lot of spin, a lot of energy, so these things can jump out at you real quick. But there's our twin tornado warnings, one west of Hickory Valley, one right into Bolivar right now. They are tracking to the northeast. Jackson, we're not under a warning yet. Meaden, you are. You need to watch this one in Meaden. Again, keep very close eye on it. It may look different in 5 minutes than it does right now. Again, reports of a funnel cloud with it as it's going through a pretty populated area there in Bolivar. I'm sure if there was a funnel cloud, somebody would have seen it, and that's why they're reporting on it, going right through Bolivar. But no reports of a tornado on the ground, just some rotation. Looks like that is going to be very close, again, to Toon, west of Silerton, coming on in, be close to Meaden. I think it's probably going to be just south of Meaden, but it's going to be pretty close. All right, and we've got our Hickory Valley one. This one, it almost looks like it's going in a little, it may follow the same line. So sometimes this happens when you get these events like this. You get supercells, and they'll pick a path that they think is very favorable for them. They'll go in that direction, and then the one behind it goes in the exact same direction. There's been many times as a meteorologist I've heard of a place getting hit by back-to-back tornadoes. Sometimes you'll get hit with a tornado, people will be out cleaning, picking up the debris, and an hour later another one comes in. It hits the same spot. That's not uncommon to happen, because often these storms try to find the path of what I guess you call least resistance to them growing. All right, notice that one near Hickory Valley is getting a little bit brighter color on it. We'll take a closer look at that one. That's down here, so this could be trying to spin up something there. So here's our Bolivar one. You notice it's a broader area of rotation, a bigger area of rotation, but not as bright. And then this one is starting to show some brighter colors. So this one's I'm maybe a little bit more concerned about it producing a tornado, although the one near Bolivar was the one they reported had that funnel cloud. So we'll watch both these little areas. They're both out of our viewing area technically right now. We cover you folks at Hardeman County and usually Fayette County as well. But generally you're getting your television from Memphis if you live in those counties. But if you're watching us in Meaden or Chester County, Silerton, Henderson, you definitely are our responsibility, and these storms are coming your way. So we're going nowhere. We're going to stay on these and see what they do over the next hour or so as they track up to the northeast. Another look at the debris tracker, not really seeing anything. Jordan, I want you to keep a very close eye on those two storms, okay?
Gotcha.
I'm gonna run up here and take a look at our Camden storm. It's got just a massive floppy here on the back side of it. Inflow notch there, kind of one of the strangest storms I've ever seen. That's the one that did start in Jackson, that passed through, that had that side lobe contamination that the National Weather Service was talking about. So that's some serious hail, though, in the Black Center area. But you notice the rotation west of Camden. If I was just looking at the reflectivity, I'd be very concerned for you if we didn't have a velocity to look at now. I would tell you that there could be a tornado on the ground. But when you look at it on our rotation product, it really kind of tells the story more than what you're seeing on reflectivity. So here is that story. There is some rotation. Again, so far away from the radar. I mean, if you want, if you're in Camden, if you're uncomfortable at all, you may want to head to your safe spot. And there's no reports of a tornado on the ground, but you got that inflow notch, starting to see some red showing up west of town. So a little bit of concern. Plus you got that really large hail. So again, I'm going to stay with this one for a scan. If you're in Camden, if you just get away from the windows, maybe head to your safe spot, get us turned on your cell phone. I'm going to take another shot now at our Camden radar. See if we can get a look at the velocity inside that. Yeah, it's just tough to see. It's about going right over where our radar is right now. So sometimes if you're too close to a radar, that also causes some struggle to see it. But watch, if we go back last 15 minutes or so, put this into a loop, slow it down. To me, it's showing more rotation now than it did at any time in the last few minutes. And I don't know why we're only getting 1 or 2 scans here. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's so choppy. All right, so we're going to watch that a little bit longer. Jordan, nothing that we need to jump in and talk about, right, for your area right now, right?
I'm keeping a close eye on it because the hook echo is intensifying, but the rotation on velocity is not changing very much at all. If anything, it's weakening, but it's still a nasty looking storm. There is a little bit of something on the debris tracker, but again, it's no way to know if it's hail or debris with where it's at in the storm.
All right, so we'll go back to one. This is a pretty populated area. I know Camden, a lot of you get TV, I believe, out of Nashville, but I know there are people in Camden that do watch us, and people that got friends and family there. So we're keeping an eye on this one too. Very large hail. It looks like it's now moved just northwest of Camden. We've got this little southeasterly inflow notch coming on here. We just got a brand new radar scan. Now it's moved up to the north of Camden. So it's a fast moving storm. Look how fast it's moving, racing up to the northeast. Closer look at that. You're probably, if you're in the city itself, I think you're going to miss out on that hail. Looks like it jumped just up to the north, and it even looks like it's lost a little bit of its size on the hail, so that's some pretty good news there. It's almost impossible to tell exactly when the hail's going to die down when you're dealing with these storms, and I think we're getting some bad radar data because this is not lining up with where the storm is right now. So we might be getting some bad radar data. So there's the storm, and then we'll flip it over to velocity, which should be showing up just northwest of Camden. Yeah, all right, so there's our new velocity scan right there. It was rough. It's looking a little bit better now, but I guarantee if you were outside in Camden and you were looking up, you would see some swirly looking clouds way up in the sky, but they're too far up in the sky to produce a tornado, it looks like. So still have that hail concern though, I think, into the Camden area. So let's go ahead and get back to that. So looks like it just missed you folks in Camden. See that? Maybe West Camden got some hail. But then it looks like it just northwest of town, and it's pretty unpopulated when you get northwest. It's kind of rural northwest of Camden. So 641, and then it looks like it's coming up over the Tennessee River. So that storm's moving out of our viewing area. Not going to be much of an issue for us here in about 10 minutes. So it looks like you avoided anything too bad in Camden, but looks like some West Camden did pick up some hail. All right, we're going to focus in on our 2 supercells, which are eating each other up. Love that. If you would have told me today we would have a bunch of supercells going up and they would all go up on top of each other, I would have told you that's the best case scenario. Obviously, you never know exactly when they're going to go up, how many is going to go up, how strong the cap's going to be, but real weak cap so far. Almost every little storm that tries to go up is going up, which we knew they would try. We just didn't think there would be this many. And so since there is so many, they're kind of, again, stealing each other's thunder so far, and that's helping us out with our supercell threat. Doesn't mean we're still not looking at some tornado chances this evening or tonight, especially when the main line comes through. But right now, things are looking pretty good for being under a high risk of severe weather, because the ingredients were there to produce these supercells. There are just too many of them going up, which is great news. So this one, again, it's lost some of its rotation. Both these storms were trying to produce their own tornadoes, and then they just kind of ran into each other. And so this is still rotating here. There's still a threat in the Tune area, okay? Running into Meaden. Do you see where this little counterclockwise rotation is? Right through here, there still could be a tornado trying to get going near Tune. So we're going to watch it closely. You're watching us in Meaden. You need to stay with us and watch this. Silerton, Henderson, it's going to be awful close to you as well. May pass just to your north. The southern storm, it's kind of following the same path. It's north of Hickory Valley right now. So we've got our little 2 areas of rotation, not seeing anything on the debris tracker, which is good. And again, our cell that we're watching east of Savannah now, looks like it's a long ways away. So I'm going to stay with the northern storm here for a second, as that one is spinning up close to Tune. Again, that tornado warning's out till 6:15. That's another 15 minutes. I think the other one is out till 6:30. So let's check that out. That one's out till 6:30. Yep. So we've got 2 different tornado warnings on top of each other for 2 different rotating storms. So here's our northern one near Tune. Teague, you know, some of the other communities there in with that. So we're going to watch this one for another scan and see what it does when it pops up. Because this is basically what's going on here is you got these southeasterly winds that are being sucked into this little rotating storm here, and it's trying to produce a tornado in this area where you get the greens and the reds coming together, but it's not strong enough right now, and it looks like it may need to tilt itself a little bit to produce a tornado. So but we're going to watch it. Tornado warning continuing on it, close to Deanburg, Parkburg. If you're in those communities, if you want to, you can head into your safe spot. I don't think there's a tornado on the ground right now, but there could be one in the next scan or 2 that we see. So, you know, if you want to head to your safe spot, by all means, I would recommend doing that. But here's our little area of rotation near Tune and Teague. So sometimes the radar, you get images every minute. Sometimes it's every 2 minutes or so. It just kind of depends on how much the National Weather Service is watching. So there's our new scan. Still some bright colors. Still should have a tornado warning on this. So I'm not saying the National Weather Service should cancel this warning. It's definitely something that needs to stay warned. We need to still watch this. Could drop a tornado in a matter of a couple of minutes as it tracks up to the northeast. But not seeing that right now. Looks like it's beginning to cross Highway 100 right now at the current moment. Again, I wish I had some better news and saying our severe thunderstorm tornado threat was wrapped up, but it's not. We've got tonight, we've got Thursday, we've got Friday and Saturday. We've got 4 days in a row of some potential severe thunderstorms, by the way. So hopefully we're all able to keep our voice. Jordan, did you ever get those hail photos or any sort of wall cloud photos built into the system?
I do have a couple of hail photos, and this viewer sent us another photo with a pool, a 9-ball. But this is a 9-ball sized hail, 8-ball sized, you know. But this was in Jumbo, Tennessee, and then we have this hail photo from the Roberts family. They don't have a comparison with these, but again, sizable hail with these storms.
Where was that family from?
That was Cedar Grove.
All right. So we've definitely had some pretty big hail with these storms so far, and still, as far as you're aware, no reports of that touchdown when the National Weather Service thought they saw debris on the CC?
Right, nothing yet. We do have good news on the front for our 2 tornado warnings that we do have. Memphis is saying the circulations are not as impressive, and we're down to dime-sized hail, at least on the Bolivar storm.
All right, that's good news as well. As again, the reason that's happening is because these two are fighting with one another. You know, they're each fighting for the energy, and when you do that, neither one of them's a winner. So they're usually losers when you get two storms fighting over the same juicy air, I guess we'll call it. So we've got the two supercells here still trying to spin. There is so much rotation in the atmosphere, though, tonight. Again, littlest storms. Usually, to get a tornado, you need a pretty big, powerful storm. That's, again, what we call CAPE produces the big, powerful storms. But when you have this much spin, like we're seeing now, every little storm that pops up immediately tries to rotate, tries to drop a tornado. They will if they can get their own atmosphere and their own environment to do it. But when they're all fighting with each other, it just doesn't come together. So a little bit of concern here northeast of Tune. That tornado warning needs to stay. And I think the one in Bolivar too. So National Weather Service may not be super, concerned about these, but that one definitely needs to stay as it's getting close into the Meaden area right now. Again, if you're in a Meaden, let me take a closer look at some areas that are in there where I think, or at least probably going to see some 50-mile-an-hour winds. Looks like it's coming right into 100 into Teague, Deanburg, Parkburg, Meaden. So we'll go back a couple of scans. So the general direction is going to run right east of Teague, west of Deanburg, Meaden, Parkburg, Roy, Pinson, Union City, Bemis before it gets close to Jackson. So I'll put a tracker on this. Again, this is just radar indicated, but it could try to do something as it comes through. So I think that's the general direction that it's going to go. I'll make sure of that. We'll get down here and put it back a couple of scans just to make sure it adds up. Yes. So I'll get in here. These are some of the communities that may be impacted by this if it does decide to produce a tornado. You notice where Teague is, Chickasaw, Meaden Church, Deanburg, New Church, Rosenwald School, BMX track. These are places where the center of rotation is going to go through just west of Pinson, east of Bemis, East Union maybe, and then close to Beach Bluff. So again, not a tornado on the ground right now, but definitely some rotation and some concern there. So if I mentioned your community, you may want to consider just getting into your safe spot until this storm passes by. Although there may not be a tornado on the ground right now, it definitely could produce one here pretty quickly. So I'm going to stay with this. Jordan, you're tracking a lot of stuff just west of the Mississippi River, right? There's multiple tornado warnings.
Tornado warning just to the east of Fisher, Arkansas, Poinsett County, confirmed on the ground by law enforcement, Poinsett County Sheriff's Office. We're going to give you the specs on that. It's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour, expires at 7. But I want to put a track on this because this is going to track right through Lauderdale, Dyer, Gibson, maybe Obion and Weakley counties if it stays on its current track. But we'll give you a time on that. It will be, we'll just put it straight northeast, 3.5 hours out. That's going to put it in Bolivar, Arkansas at 7:39, Big Boy Junction, which is Dyer County on the Mississippi River, 8:14, New Bern at 8:35, Mason Hall at 8:52 in Gibson County, Martin in Weakley County at 9:17. So UT Martin, keep a close eye on this storm in Poinsett County, Arkansas, and it'll be on the border with Kentucky and Palmersville by 9:39.
All right, that's if it continues to keep its same direction. And again, these are developing along the line that Jordan and I have been talking about. So looks like the line may produce some spin-up tornadoes tonight as well. All right, let's head back over to Max 1. We're watching our area of rotation, which is approaching Deanburg right now, just southeast of Teague. So this is where there's some rotation, a cell trying to produce a tornado. Again, if you're in Deanburg, Parkburg, Pinson, I'd just recommend getting into your safe spot till this passes. There could be a tornado on the ground in the next scan we get. There's definitely rotation here. There's definitely some strong wind south of Teague. So we're going to watch this one closely here. Jordan's also keeping an eye on this. He'll let you know if he sees anything on the debris tracker that would allow us to confirm any sort of tornado here. I think you usually are looking for some brighter greens on the inflow notch, but there's definitely some strong winds in the red area. So you should get a new scan here. Again, for the people watching us in Meaden, Deanburg, Parkburg, and we got a lot of people watching WBBJ in those communities there. So Henderson, it's going to be pretty close to you as well. I think it probably stays just to the west of you. I think it's more moving in this general direction. But we'll keep a close eye on it. We should get another scan here coming in any minute on that one. So there it is. There's our new scan. Didn't really see much of a change. I like that. It looked just like it did before, which is more mid-level rotation. So great news there. But it's still rotating, still has a tornado warning. So again, one final look up here for you folks in Camden. I think that one is done. So looks like it's moving now. Just still some hail in it. Looks like it's moving just north of New Johnsonville. So that one's going to be a Nashville issue for now as it moves northeast of Camden. So we're going to focus in on obviously our two southern storms. And then Jordan was talking about, look at this, that confirmed tornado. Look at all these off to the west. Okay, let me cut down on the amount of radar that I'm giving you here. But so look at all these storms. 2 confirmed tornadoes. Look at this line. So this is all still to come our way tonight. These are also looks like supercells that are the main line still up behind it where the severe thunderstorm warnings are. And we've got a cluster of supercells right now producing tornadoes. 2 on the ground, 7 tornado warnings. So this is all going to come on in here still. So what we want is that line to catch these before they get much into West Tennessee. You notice a lot of these ones are by themselves for now. Okay, they're too far away to be fighting with each other. They got a nice space between them. Not as big a space as these southern ones would like, but these are all supercells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them that have lined up. Looks like we are getting a severe thunderstorm warning for us here in Jackson. They did not extend that tornado warning for that cell we've been watching down near Meaden. So they'll probably keep a tour possible on it, but it's probably going to be for winds and maybe some hail. So good news for that one. This is definitely worth watching. See this one on its own right here south of Memphis? It's got nothing really around it. It's got these ones up to the north, but this one may do something as it gets closer to Memphis. And then again, off to the west, 2 confirms, 7 tornado warnings, all developing in the high risk zone. Again, remember, once you get east of Jackson, the risk is a little lower. Southeast of Jackson is where the level 4 is. The 5 is Jackson to the northwest into this area, which earlier today, the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center extended it all the way down south of even DeWitt. So again, these supercells are all coming. So when I say it's going to be a long night, I mean it's going to be a long night. Just because we've been lucky so far doesn't mean we're going to. Again, 2 tornadoes on the ground right now, large tornadoes I believe too, as they're tracking off to the east. Both of those are confirmed, and both of them have a, do they have a considerable tag, Jordan, on those? Or let me see here. What is the general consensus on
Considerable.
those? Yeah, each one of these tornadoes are confirmed and large and extremely dangerous tornado. They're not just radar confirmed. These are large, dangerous tornadoes. 2 of them on the ground to the west of us. Both of them confirmed large and extremely dangerous is the wording from the National Weather Service. So while those are on the way, we're going to get back to our cells that are closer to home right now. Still got some rotation there with our 1 tornado warning. The second tornado warning is this guy. I still don't know why that one's still up, but we've got 2 areas of rotation. Okay, I see. All right, so we still got our 2 storms. The one near Parkburg, which the National Weather Service just, Jordan, do you want to read the verbiage for the new severe thunderstorm warning for Jackson real quick?
So it is a bare minimum severe thunderstorm warning. We've got radar indicated 1-inch hail and radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts.
All right.
I'm sure this will get increased when those storms finish their merger.
All right, so that's the minimal what you need for a severe thunderstorm warning. You need at least 1-inch hail, and you need winds up to 60 miles an hour. If you don't have either of those, then you do not have a severe thunderstorm warning. So minimal severe thunderstorm warning, we'll see what it does. But starting to get awful concerned. I see why you were quiet for the last 20 minutes. Look at all the actions off to the west of us. Look at this. Look at the hooks on these storms, man. Yeah, this ain't good.
That's right down that level 5.
Yeah, I hope these stay west of us and get eaten by that main line, because that's a classic supercell right there. That one's about to be confirmed, I guarantee it. And then that one is confirmed there near Harrisburg. And look at this, I mean, they're developing right behind it too. So, man, I hope that line catches those before they get here. So, like, here, look, they came out of nowhere. And this is a 3-hour loop, right? So you're watching these 2 hours ago, nothing, and then boom, 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 boom. Look at all of them just firing up one after another. And these down here, okay, see these ones? These are coming. These are going to make it in probably before the line shows up. Because eventually this is going to turn into a line from Little Rock up through Poplar Bluff. So that's also producing tornado warnings though still. So eventually this is going to become a line, pick up speed, we think. Okay, we think. This is never a guarantee, but this is the general consensus, is this is going to become a line and then catch up with any of these supercells that are out in front, and then become just a most likely straight line wind and spin up tornado event. But these are not spin up tornadoes right now. These are still supercells continuing to move on through. So we may get our little tornado warning to expire here soon. But then all eyes are off to the west, so we may get a short break here as meteorologists to get a quick drink. But I think we've got more tornado warnings coming on in here tonight. So we may get a brief break, take a deep breath when we see this one tornado warning here expire south of Jackson. But we've got some uglies on the way. So obviously if we cut out TV, okay, and we'll still leave our Facebook Live up, and we're still going to we'll leave our Facebook Live up, and then we're still going to do some reports on it probably every 15 minutes or so until we go live again for tornado coverage on TV. So there's a look at our two little areas of rotation near Meaden and Toon. Neither one of them right now look like they're producing a tornado, but there's definitely, I bet you these are some winds coming into Parksburg, Pinson, Roy along 45 south of Jackson. I bet you those are 50 miles an hour winds. Kind of tough to click in here and see, because we're right in the middle of that severe thunderstorm warning. But I bet you those are some pretty intense little winds there. Maybe if I turn off the warnings, maybe I can get a wind value to pop up there. Yeah, 45 miles an hour. So yeah, 45, that's pretty windy, so definitely, but not a tornado warning right now. And this is why we still have the tornado warning in West Tennessee. It's this little guy near Toon, which is tracking to the northeast near Teague. But again, this one's really struggled to rotate. So I believe that's out until 6:30, and we're going to see that being allowed to expire. Go back here. So we're looking at the Memphis site over the last 3 hours. And we got this one near Hernando, so we'll see. We may not get much of a break, but right now it's not doing a whole lot. And it's, I mean, watch these. We had these two little supercells, and if either one of these were by themselves, they would have produced a tornado. Instead, they danced together. The southern one is, so where the northern one would produce a tornado, okay, it's right there, okay? See that little notch there? But this other one's catching up from behind it, pushing any chance of it producing a tornado away. So it still may try to do something. You see, we've got an inflow notch there, southwest of Meaden, and we still got the one up here, but the first one's getting eaten up. So I think the first one, that's why they canceled the tornado, or they didn't extend the tornado warning for that northern one. They may issue it again for this southern one because we got that little notch there. But remember that, just like the other storm that came through, it's not really developing its hook in the right spot. It's too far back of the storm instead of more in this area. So you want in this area it'd be better. But when you start to get to the very back side of these storms, it's just not where you want to see that rotation to develop to produce a tornado. So I hope that continues all night for us here in Jackson, or maybe it's just something that's happening because these two storms, this is what happens when you got a storm that eats up another storm. So, but we're going to continue to keep an eye on it. Jordan, what do you got, anything exciting on 2?
Nothing new. We still have the one tornado warning. I believe they're just going to let it expire. They're not going to cancel it because the rotation's already out of the warning polygon. But still have 2 confirmed tornadoes. Actually, I believe 3 because the storm to the south of Jonesboro actually has 2 concurrent tornadoes on the ground with it.
Oh, geez. Yeah. So a lot of action just to the west of us again. I hope we get a repeat of a couple Fridays ago and they all die before they get here, but that's probably wishful thinking tonight. Still some pretty gusty winds heading into Roy, Pinson. Again, 45-mile-an-hour winds right along 45. Could take down some trees. Heads up on that. But not in the right spot of the storm for rotation. You know, you get back in there and you're looking where we had that rotation. It's, you know, maybe here near, it would be just west of Teague, where if it was going to try to do something, maybe a little bit of hail mixing in north of Teague there in that hail core. Supercell has a rotation section, and it's got a hail core section, and then some heavy rain usually associated with it. So we'll see. I mean, it's back to, it's starting to turn into one, like the other one did that came through Jackson when we had the tornado warning, maybe a brief touchdown, and then that other storm caught it from behind and just kind of took away its thunder. So, but we'll see. We're watching that one cell right now. Let me see if I can catch it on our camera here. I'll look to the south. I think I have our camera pointed to the north from where that other storm was earlier. So move the camera to the south here. Yeah, it's dark for sure, but well, we can't look directly in that area because that's where the pole is. So try to move it here a little bit out of the way, and we'll show you with what we're seeing. All right, so here's our camera. All right, well, one sec. I'll get it pulled up here. Since we're looking to the south, let me move it over. The camera's running on a little bit of delay. I think it's probably impacted from the previous storm that did come through here. But yeah, so there's that storm. You can see it on the left side of the screen. That's the one coming up from the south. Got a few wispy clouds. And looks like some rain beginning to come down now again in the Jackson area. We'll try to pull this over here and see as far as I can get over there before I run into the pole. All right, so that's it. So there's our view coming up from the south of the next storm. Tough to see much of anything from it. But that tornado warning continues for another 8 minutes. We'll see if they decide to continue with it or not again, and then we'll focus in on all that stuff off to the west. So we'll pull up my radar here. Here we go. We've still got our tornado warning, but the area of rotation has moved out of the tornado warning. Got a triplet of supercells northeast of Memphis. None of those are doing much. So we do have this area that's moving now to the northeast of Bolivar, heading into Meaden. By the way, if you're hoping to watch our news tonight at 6:30 on CBS, we are going to have a newscast unless they reissue this tornado warning. Then we'll stay with it. If not, here in 7 minutes, we're going to run through our regular CBS News programming, and that'll be local news on WBBJ, by the way. And hopefully we'll be able to get through that, and maybe it'll be around 8 o'clock when we break back in to cover more tornado coverage when they start crossing the Mississippi again, maybe as early as 7 o'clock, so we'll see. All right, we got our 2 little notches here with our supercell that, or 2 supercells that have now become 1. There's still some rotation southwest of Meaden, not enough that I think there's a tornado on the ground. Got some gusty winds right along 45 also. So here's kind of our, this is why we had that tornado warning issued. If they were still concerned about it, since the storm has moved out of the polygon, they would have issued another tornado warning. But since they haven't, I think they're just going to allow this old one to expire here in about 5 minutes instead of canceling it. But you notice it was spinning up pretty good earlier as it came through. It is coming into Meaden, so you're not under a tornado warning in Meaden, but it's just going to be a little windy, like the last one. So you got hit back to back in Meaden. You had the first one come through. Here comes the second one. I don't think they're going to reissue a tornado warning, but they could. So you know, we'll see. It's got a little bit of rotation. Not seeing anything on the debris tracker, and then we've got this on the way. confirmed tornadoes all over the place. Look at this line of supercells. This is probably the ugliest looking one, and it doesn't have a confirmed tag, maybe because it's in a rural area and no one's spotted it yet, or it hasn't spun up any debris. Up north again, our Camden situation, that's over with, that we had been watching. As you notice, that storm now is kind of clearing on out. Jordan, why don't we go to Max 2 for a minute so that I can try to get some graphics ready for the newscast, okay? So we're going to head to Max 2, let Jordan take over for a minute.
Sure thing. So we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for Madison, Chester, Henderson, Gibson, and Carroll counties. Again, Hardeman County still included in the warning, but the storm has moved out of the area. It is now almost completely into southern Madison and central Chester counties. Still tagged for the 1-inch hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. We'll pop up velocity and see what kind of winds we're working with here at the surface. Well, actually, these are going to be slightly aloft, but we'll give you something close to about, oh, nope, that's the warning query, so we'll tell you it is going to be, it says aloft, we're looking at 22 miles per hour, so again, the storm's showing some signs of weakening, which we'll take on a day like today. But we'll zoom back out to reflectivity. We're going to zoom out. Again, that tornado warning for Fayette and Hardeman's slated to expire at 6:30, but we have plenty of tornado warnings over in eastern Arkansas that we need to keep a very close eye on, particularly this warning just to the south of Jonesboro. This storm has a history of producing tornadoes. In fact, just moments ago, had 2 tornadoes confirmed on the ground at the same time. That'll be crossing Interstate 555 here very shortly near Truman, Arkansas. That's near the border of Poinsett and Mississippi County, Arkansas, which is the last county in Arkansas before it gets to West Tennessee. Then it would move into Lauderdale or possibly Dyer County. So we're going to keep a close eye on this over the next several minutes. Of course, right now it's just down to radar indicated, but a few moments ago this box was pink, which means it was spotted by spotters. But again, we haven't heard anything from the Weather Service, but they are resetting. They are just from the Weather Service in Memphis. The storm you're looking at right now near Truman, Arkansas, is about to get upgraded back to observed, so that polygon will be changing colors here very shortly. Again, that one's going to be probably the most concerning storm for now. Until then, we're still looking at the storm near Meaden, near Jackson. Again, not very impressive. It's still in the middle of a cell merger, so we'll probably won't be anything impressive until after that merger takes place, and that merger could take several minutes to hours to finish.
All right, so let's head back to Max 1. We'll show you the situation in Jackson. We're getting blasted by heavy rain coming on down again. That's that cell that Jordan was just showing you. We're going to stick with one more radar tour here for 2 minutes. That is on our live storm coverage before we go to our newscast at 6:30 with Brad Douglas. So here's the situation. We've got our severe thunderstorm warning here in Jackson, a plethora of supercells off to the west that are coming our way still. Our 1 tornado warning will expire, we think, here in 2 minutes. Just some rain showers and non-severe thunderstorms coming through. Still a little rotation in Meaden. We're still watching it. Probably not enough storm energy, though, right now to get a tornado out of that, but it's definitely interesting, so we're going to watch it.
They just extended it. They just reissued it.
All right, so I guess we're not going to have our 6:30 newscast. Sorry about that. For those of you that were hoping to catch that, they just decided to extend the tornado warning for that cell.
That'll be until 7:15. It'll include Henderson, Benton, Carroll, Madison, southeastern Henry County, central Chester County, and northwestern Decatur County until 7:15. Still for radar indicated rotation, moving northeast at 55 miles per hour. Max hail size tagged at 3/4 of an inch.
All right, that is for on Max 1. You can see that is for this guy right here. So that is the rotation right in the Meaden area. So they're saying that this is a radar indicated. No signs of a tornado there, but it is on the section of the supercell that could possibly produce a tornado. So that is why they have decided to issue that. So We're going to continue to track this guy right here. He'll be moving up to the northeast. So, all right, so we're sticking with that here for a while. So those of you that were hoping to watch regular coverage at 6:30, we're still covering severe thunderstorms, but it wasn't going to be a long break, because if you look off to the west, we've got that coming. So that's a lot worse than anything we've had to deal with so far. So again, a whole bunch of storms still expected to come in tonight. So all right, so let's kind of get back to business here. I was building graphics for the newscast, but we'll go back to severe weather. We've got a triplet of supercells near Arlington, Mason, and Somerville. None of those are doing much. We've got our conglomerate of those two rotating storms, so just now one, which is producing some pretty heavy rain currently into the Jackson area, and that's what's on the radar. So that's why they issued the tornado warning. Again, being extra cautious, but better to be safe than sorry when you have an environment, I guess, like we're dealing with today. So that's the area of rotation is right here near Parkburg. So again, don't think there's a tornado on the ground, but it still could rotate. This two supercells may try to become one, spin up and do something, but it's kind of following roughly the same path as the one that headed up into Camden. Just produced some hail as it went northeast of us, never produced a tornado. And even the last two scans have each cut the rotation down significantly. So we're even looking at less rotation now than we were 2 minutes ago when they issued the warning. But we'll keep an eye on it. Again, we've got that tornado warning. It still includes Jackson in the warning, although there's no threat for a tornado in Jackson. The little bit of rotation is here, southeast Madison County. It's going to be close to, you see that little area, close to Luray. We'll see as it tracks up to the northeast. You're watching us in Lexington, Wilders Grove, or Wildersville, Cedar Grove. Just keep an eye on it right now. Again, nothing confirmed as far as a tornado, but there's still a little bit of rotation, so we're still watching it. If you're in Meaden, I think here in a couple minutes, your chances will be over, as it looks like it's moving to the northeast. Chances for now, though. I'm not saying anybody in West Tennessee is completely done from tornadoes tonight, but this current little cell looks like it's going to move through. We'll stick with this radar scan here. We've got the little bit of rotation in Meaden, Jackson, north of Pinson. So a couple of small clusters of rotation in here. We'll see if anything tightens up in the next scan. So a little bit of concern here, maybe two. So there's two different areas with this storm, because remember, it was two supercells. They become one, and it takes them a while to become more of an organized storm even after the two come together. So that's why they continue to put that tornado warning out, but that is the only storm of note for us right now. So that area east of Jackson, that's, look near Pinson. That was our first area of rotation from the first supercell. This was at 6:22, 10 minutes ago. That moved up to the north, and then our second area was the one south of Meaden. So we had two supercells. They each came together, and now neither area is rotating because they kind of ran into each other. So that's good news. Not good news is what we have coming on in from the west, and I'm going to get to that right now. Our Camden storm moved out. That was producing the hail. And here's what we got on the way. The main event later tonight. Looks like it's these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 supercells lined up, and they've got enough space between them that they're not impacting each other much yet. Remember, ours, they were almost developing right on top of each other. These ones have a little bit of space. The good news is the line is trying to catch them. So this line that is behind the supercells, once it catches this line, it could happen by a little after they reach the Mississippi River. That would be the best news for us. If the line can catch the supercells, because you notice the supercells are moving a little bit further to the north, the line is more moving due east, so that's why it's going to catch them. So once it does, like what's been happening here in West Tennessee with the cells, they merge, they come together, and they lose their ability to rotate. So hopefully that happens here sooner than later, because look at this line of tornado warnings extending. This is all into that this is all into that moderate or that high risk. So that's all on the way to us. All right, so here's our forecast tonight. Futurecast is thinking we'll be pretty quiet here after that one moves out around 8 o'clock, and then 9 coming through 10, and then possibly around midnight. This is when that main line is going to come through here, 1, 2 o'clock, and then maybe moving out by 3, 4, and then we're going to see that boundary stall out, and that's when that flood threat's going to continue into Thursday morning. So let's go back to the radar here locally, since we are watching our one storm that we have a tornado warning on. All right, so we'll pull that one up. Here's what it looks like outside in Jackson right now, by the way. We've got, looks like some pretty heavy rain still coming on down and some gusty winds. So, the radar here is showing you that one cell. This is where our tornado warning is. We maybe have some hail trying to mix in there. But when we take a closer look at it, this looks like heavy rain. Again, trying to find, here's the first area of rotation. Here's the second area of rotation. So two different little locations that are trying to spin up. Not seeing anything overly concerning on the radar to say there's a tornado on the ground there. But these are still moving through southeastern Madison County. There's a few pockets of rotation inside here, nothing jumping out to me saying there's a tornado, but it's even tough to pinpoint the exact area of rotation. I'd zoom into the storm. There's just multiple areas inside this little cluster that are trying to do something, but none of them are more impressive than the other. But nonetheless, we've got that tornado warning remains in effect. Down south here into Bolivar, where it originally started, looks like that's pretty quiet currently. So let's see if I can get back up in there. So here's the radar loop. Basically what you're looking at here is the velocity loop showing you where there was a pocket of rotation. The first one was here, east of Jackson. That was our first pocket of rotation. It's beginning to lose out. And then here is the second one. So these were two rotating storms. They each had tornado warnings on them about an hour and a half ago. And then they came together and they each trying to spin circles around one another. So area of rotation right there. And you notice the colors were a little brighter as it moved over 45. That's probably when we had some 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts right on 45. And then if this does produce a tornado, it's probably going to be on this tail side right here. I'm not seeing anything of confirmed tornado right now. But that tornado warning does again extend, like the last one, does include you all the way up as far north as Camden and Holiday. So it's a long tornado warning, and it's following pretty much the same path as the one before that did not produce a tornado. And right now our thoughts are this one is not going to produce one either, but that does not mean it's a guarantee. So we're going to watch it closely, see if it tightens up anywhere. These off to the west, though, are producing tornadoes tonight. So what I liked about today so far for us is so many little cells popped up that they, look at all of them, that they were struggling to maintain, because by the time one would start to mature enough to produce a tornado, it would get bumped up or eaten up or bumped into by another storm. So that's saved us so far. And even once they formed into cells that had their space, like this one here in Jackson, it's going over the same spot of an area that's already had its energy stolen from it an hour ago. That storm that went through Camden earlier, this one is following the exact same path, which is also common when you're dealing with supercells. Often they'll find what they think is the path of least resistance for them to strengthen. And for some reason, this has been the path that they've been choosing to go through West Tennessee, which is just southeast of Jackson, and then up into Carroll County, and it looks like Henry County. Another storm near Memphis. Neither one of these are currently producing a tornado, although this one could. And then look, those purple boxes are for extreme tornadoes. Here's what it looks like out at the airport in town. We do have some very heavy rain still coming on down and some spooky clouds. I guess at the airport we're just looking at spooky clouds now because we're west of town. But you look at that. I mean, that is definitely looks like there's still a lot of storm concerns tonight. We're not out of the blue yet, although we've avoided anything significant so far. Still some rotation trying to kick up right now. We can see that on Max 1. That is east of Bemis, near Beach Bluff. So that's why we still have that tornado warning out right now, southeast of Jackson. Again, if it does produce a tornado, this is going to be the spot to watch. On the where that little, that's a little bit more promising on the scan now. We finally have a little bit more of an inflow notch, and it's where it's supposed to be. Remember we were talking earlier, and I said when we had those supercells, when they had that tail over here on the west side, that's not where you want to be to produce where a tornado gets produced. It's here in this section. So this is a little bit more, has my attention a little bit more now, and it did a few scans ago when we had that backside tail. So we get this front south side tail, inflow notch, typical area for a hook echo to develop. So we're going to watch this one here real closely and see. So although again a couple scans ago it wasn't doing much, it looks like it could be now. So we'll put a little bit of
Joel, can I steal some time from you for a second?
Go ahead. Let's head over to Joel.
They have issued a tornado emergency for portions of Arkansas and Missouri. Dyer Lake and Obion County, you need to keep a very, very close eye on this storm.
All right, that's our first tornado emergency of the night. It does not include us in West Tennessee yet, but if you look at on Max 2, Jordan's polygon is very, very close to the Mississippi River. So that is obviously a very dangerous situation. That's a storm's probably about 45 minutes away from the Mississippi River. So again, if you're in that area of West Tennessee, the closer you are to the Mississippi, you really need to monitor the situation. So Jordan's going to keep a very close eye on that stuff off to the west. We can't not pay attention to our one tornado warning that we still have, because that's why we're on TV right now, and it is in Madison County. Jackson is still under that polygon, although the rotation I think is closer to Pinson and Luray with this storm. So we're trying to catch something inside here that is Meaden, you're okay. Henderson, you're okay. The storm threat's past you guys. Still, though, little spin-up concern right now is in East Union, Beach Bluff, north of Pinson, the place that had that first area of rotation come through. That's right where the second one is coming by as well. And we look at our debris product and not seeing anything showing up there. But the most exciting image we had was the reflectivity, which was showing you that little tail when we were looking at it a few minutes ago. And there it is. So we still do have a little bit of tail. Not all the radars are picking it up, but I believe this one is Fort Campbell, I think, is picking this up. But it's got a little bit of an inflow notch and a tail right there, southeast of Jackson near East Union. So we'll watch it. If there was a tornado to develop with the storm, it would be right there. This hook is in the proper spot. Again, I think the energy is a little low because this place has been hit now multiple times with storms. So again, when a storm hits a place, it sucks up a lot of the energy, and then it takes a little bit longer for the energy to redevelop. So when you get a storm, if it's 30 minutes after the next one, it's not going to be enough time. It usually needs about an hour for the atmosphere to be charged back up. So I would be surprised if we had anything, but we're seeing some of the highest rotational returns we've had in the last 15 minutes from this little area. So a couple of areas of green here. If you are northeast of this, you may consider going into your safe spot. Again, it's southeast of Jackson. If you're inside the loop in Jackson, you're okay. But looks like maybe Claybrook, Blue Goose, Beach Bluff, East Union. Again, this is not, I don't see a tornado on the ground on this, but there could be any minute. And you're under a tornado warning, and the National Weather Service usually knows what they're doing. So Claybrook, Blue Goose, White Fern, Beach Bluff, Liberty Tech. And I still hear the sirens going off in Jackson, so obviously still something that is concerning people. No one wants to hear tornado sirens. But Jackson itself is okay. If you're out of the loop, though, just to the southeast of town, especially between Beach Bluff and Claybrook, there's our new scan on that one.
They did just trim southern Madison County out of the severe thunderstorm warning.
Okay.
It's not really much of anything when we got a tornado warning right on top of it.
Yes, but thank you for the update, Jordan. Beach Bluff there, just to the west of Beach Bluff, Claybrook, Blue Goose. If this does spin up a tornado, it will be moving into your area. So there's our rotations in eastern Madison County right now. We should be able to get a decent loop on this. There it is. So what we're looking at here is some rotation on that mini cell southeast of Jackson, coming up right through here. I'm glad they kept this. I know a lot of people wanted to watch the news at 6:30, but I think it was a good thing that they kept this warning going. This is still a rotating storm in a highly populated area, so I think it was a good call. It's going to continue to track up to the northeast, just east of Jackson, somewhere between Cedar Grove, Wildersville, and it's starting to look a little bit more promising now than it did, 10 minutes ago. So definitely some colors showing up here west of Blue Ray. So again, if I was in the path of this, I'd get in my safe spot. The next radar scan may be worse. So this is coming into Claybrook. Let me see if I can get some of the roads that come up here. Beach Bluff Road, White Fern, Law Road there, north of Claybrook, could be impacted if this does decide to spin up a tornado. West of White Fern, again, 412 near Claybrook and Blue Goose. It looks like there's not a lot of, that we get real close to these roads. We get real close in here, but I'm, again, not certain when I'm telling you these are the roads that are going to be impacted because the area of rotation is so big. Currently, it's a large area. When you're dealing, it would be different if we had a CC drop or something on this to be more accurate with to give street names. Not seeing anything on the CC yet, so that's good. Nothing confirmed with that tornado.
Chester County's out of the warning.
All right, Chester County, you are now out of the warning, and again, the city of Jackson itself is not in the path of this, in my opinion. So there is a look at it. It's just east of Jackson right now. If you're a couple miles east of Jackson, that's different. But if you're inside the main loop, you're good. Main rotations here, northwest of Blue Ray. Going to pass real close to 412. So this is what you look for when you're looking for a storm to try to produce a tornado. You get your little inflow notch, which we have here. We've got backside flow, rear flank downdraft, which you also see. So then we'll get that hook echo, and we're getting some pretty bright colors here near Beach Bluff. So again, Blue Goose, maybe Crucifer going to be close to you. If you're in Beach Bluff, it's very close to you. I wouldn't recommend go outside, but if you're 5 miles south of Beach Bluff or something, you may be able to get a look at that and see if there's any rotation that can be visible. Yeah, it's still trying to spin up. So we're going to keep a very close eye on this one as it comes through, as it's in one of our more populated areas, and it's showing rotation, and it's got a hook echo. So White Fern. Jordan, anything from the National Weather Service on this particular storm that they're seeing or concerned about? Are they calling any of this side
Their
low?
eyes are all on that tornado emergency right now. They've not said a peep about the storm we're watching.
Okay, well, we will do our best then to cover it and everything that I can see. So we'll keep a very close eye on it just in case it does spin up here. But very broad area of rotation, big looking storm. So there's our loop on it. Maybe some real small hail. It's just a weak little guy. That's the other issue with it. It just doesn't have a lot of energy. If it did, it'd be producing hail. And the reason it doesn't have energy is because we just had a big storm come through here that sucked it all out just less than an hour ago. So it's a little supercell, but it is trying to rotate. It could produce a small tornado, maybe an EF0, maybe an EF1 if it does. It's not going to produce a big tornado, but there's a large area of rotation. Clearly, you can pick this up on the radar that it is rotating. Maybe I can get a couple other radars to take a look at it. Let's see that if we kind of zoom this out here. See if we can, there's another one. Not really showing a whole lot of a little bit of rotation there near Lou Ray, but so it looks like the Memphis radar is still giving us the best look at it. Just north. If you are in Luray, you may be able to see that. If you look to the northwest, I think you're okay in Luray. I think even this tail end is gonna miss you. But if you're in Mifflin, you could definitely see that as well. If you look up to the north, go outside, I think you're safe to do that. I don't think there's any lightning in your areas currently, but you can definitely see that little inflow notch south on Cedar Grove. So, all right, general direction is moving to the northeast. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a track on that. Let me go back about an hour. This will give me a much better idea of the exact direction that it is moving. So, all right, so we're probably in this area, coming up probably on the west side of the warning. So there's a look at some of the towns that may be impacted by that, including Jumbo again, who got the big hail earlier. Buena Vista, who got big hail earlier. So it's basically going to go the same place that the previous one did, that dropped all that large hail, but it didn't spawn a tornado. So very similar storm, looks like, than the one that came through earlier. I'm glad it didn't produce a tornado earlier, because then you'd be out, some people would have damage, and then they'd be out dealing with another storm on the way. I'll get a closer look in there inside our track zone. Maybe we'll get some smaller communities to pop up as well. So again, there's our track zone. Blue Goose, Cedar Grove, Law, Mount Gilead, Yuma is inside there, Leech, Hilliard, Westport, Dollar, Garrettsburg, Huntington, you're kind of right on the edge of that too, Long Rock, Brewston. So we'll see if it continues to rotate or does anything. But if I did call your community, you need to stay with us while we're tracking this storm, because the center of rotation is going to go over your community. So that's our lone storm left right now in West Tennessee, but there are major tornadoes just to the west of us right now, approaching the Mississippi River here real soon. There's our one little baby cell. Still got two. Look, it's still got the two areas of rotation, right? It's still got the northern one from the first supercell, and then it's got the second area from the second supercell, which is the one that has me a little bit more concerned for trying to spin up a tornado. So there's our area of rotation. It's prevalent. I mean, it's there. It's broad. It's not right on top of each other to say that there's concern for a tornado, but it's still rotating. It needs a tornado warning on it. So I'm not saying we shouldn't have one. So you need to take this seriously still until it moves through your area. It is still rotating, and some pretty bright colors with it right now. So you notice that the general consensus of the rotation is counterclockwise. So you're spinning up here. Jackson, you're out of the concern, by the way. It's still into eastern Madison County. We'll move into Wildersville, staying just north of Lexington, I think. It probably stays just south of Huntington. It's going to be close, but it's going to track somewhere between Wildersville and Huntington, the center of rotation, which will put it very close to Camden again, just like the last cell that did come on by. Like the last one, it's so far been a lot more, a lot less concerning than a tornado on the ground would be, obviously, but it is still rotating. So we're still going to watch it as it comes on by. We'll see. Maybe that could be some sort of a debris drop. I don't think so, but we'll see on another scan when it comes through. But remember, this tornado warning goes all the way out to the Tennessee River, includes you in Camden still, and Holiday, although the storm's a ways away. All right, we've got tornado warnings all along here to the south. We've got a tornado emergency, confirmed tornadoes all over into eastern Arkansas that are coming our way. Again, hopefully this big line catches these supercells before they get too far into West Tennessee. But right now there are tornado emergencies, multiple large, dangerous tornadoes on the ground just west of us. This line of tornadoes goes all the way up into southern Illinois even. We've got our lone one. Sometimes when you're out in front of these main lines, this far out, you can get big supercell thunderstorms, but so far today that didn't pan out. We had a lot of little ones that didn't allow any big ones to get going. The big ones, though, off to the west will be moving through 10 o'clock through Gibson, Crockett counties, midnight through Madison, 11 p.m. to midnight through Madison County, and then still tracking down to the southeast 2, 3, 4 a.m. in the morning before they clear on out. Jordan, you got another look at that that supercell, right? Are you looking at it from the Camden radar?
I can real quick. It's a little close to the edge of the radar's range. Not really seeing a whole lot. Memphis is not the best view. I'm going to check what Fort Campbell's saying, and it's right in where that purple range is. We'll see Paducah again. It's right on the edge. It's in a bit of a low zone, but right now it looks like Memphis still has the best look at it.
All right, so we're still tracking it on the Memphis radar. Still a little bit of inflow notch there. It still looks like that's right at Blue Goose right now, heading into Mount Gilead. If I'm right along 412, east of Claybrook, that's where the rotation is. Still broad rotation, nothing tight enough to. So whatever's going on with this storm, it's missing something to produce a tornado, because it's been trying now for a long time. And the same storm, the previous storm, which is right in the same area, did the same thing. It tried and tried, but it just never could do it. It eventually produced some hail, but this one's not even producing any hail that I'm seeing as it's spinning up to the north. But there's a look at it here over the last 30 minutes. Still tracking up to the northeast. Jordan, I need to change batteries on my mic if you want to take over real quick on that storm on Max 2.
Sure thing. Again, it's not looking very impressive. We've got it on reflectivity right now. There's an inflow notch, but the rotation along with it is very broad, very weak. But again, it's rotating, so the tornado warning needs to be there. There's not really anything in place where we would expect a debris drop, but you see this green streak racing off to the northeast. That is probably a hail spike, although it's not very pronounced, so if there is hail in this storm, it's going to be very, very small, probably below severe limits. Maybe, I believe this warning is tagged for 3/4 inch hail, so that would do it. Again, it doesn't look super impressive. We're still undergoing the two cells are still in the middle of merging. They just haven't formed into one supercell yet, but if they do, it would either cause the storm to fall apart and take several hours to re-intensify, or it would just outright kill it. But again, we've got plenty of warnings on the way across the river in Arkansas. They're right up to the Mississippi River. Of course, we've got the one tornado emergency for Monette, Arkansas right now. But our concern right now is in northwest Henderson County. Madison County, you'll be trimmed out of the warning as soon as Memphis gets a chance to trim it. The rotation has passed into Henderson County. It's going to miss Lexington to the north. Wildersville is the most area of most concern right now. It's going to ride right along I-40 for a good chunk of its duration until I-40 takes that right turn right before it crosses into Carroll County.
All right, thanks a lot, Jordan. We do have the storm as it continues to track up to the northeast here. Looks like it's now north of Luray. It'll miss Lexington, it looks like, but we still got that inflow notch. It's really trying hard to produce a tornado, but again, something's just missing for it to produce that tornado. So here's I-40 here. We've got that little inflow notch. So if there was a tornado, it would be riding I-40 right now, from what we're seeing there on the velocity. But it's so far it hasn't produced one, but there's still plenty of rotation. You can see it on the radar right there. Is where it's trying to spin up. It'll probably be a pretty cool storm to chase if you were in an area where you could and it was the only lone storm. But because it's probably got some pretty neat rotating clouds. It's just nothing's rotating down to the surface yet. So this is all probably middle way up into the storm that is doing that rotation. So there's a look at it. It's still south of I-40 right now. Looks like it's going to miss Cedar Grove. It'll be very close to Wildersville and Clarksburg. it's going to stay west of Lexington. You're watching us in Lexington, you're fine. Watching us in Luray, you're fine. Watching us in Cedar Grove, you're going to get some heavy rain, but the rotation section is sitting just down here, right east of Blue Goose now, as it is moving up to the north. Again, that maybe a little hail spike, as Jordan was saying, but when we look at it on the reflectivity, it doesn't look like there's large hail. There may be some pea-size hail mixing in, maybe a couple of marbles, but that's about it. Wow, those are all confirmed. Those are all confirmed tornadoes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 confirmed tornadoes with a tornado emergency. So each one of these supercells has a tornado on the ground right now. Not radar indicated tornado warnings, but confirmed tornadoes, confirmed dangerous tornadoes. So hopefully that line catches them. There is a chance, all right? Here, this could save us. We've got all these supercells, and we've got a line coming up from behind it. So if the line catches all of these supercells, by the time they cross the Mississippi River, it's going to minimize their impacts on how big of tornado they can produce. That doesn't mean we won't get tornadoes along the line, because it is an explosive atmosphere tonight. But if the line can catch them, I think it'll cut down on the amount and the size that those supercells are currently producing. Here we've got two little cells I'm also watching west of Jackson. Neither one of them are doing anything. So here seems to be the main forcing for tornadoes tonight is right there into that high risk zone. Remember, the high risk zone did include from Jackson into central Arkansas. Mississippi River was right in the middle of their high risk zone that the Storm Prediction Center issued. And they had it all the way up into southern Illinois and all the way down into southeastern Arkansas. So that's where all those confirmed tornado warnings are. We've got two new cells, though. We'll see what they do. Watching those out in front of the main supercell clusters and between our little rotating storm, which has so far been the little rotating storm that couldn't. And hopefully it stays that way. Go back and let's check in on our storm and see what it's doing as it's now northeast of Jackson. If you're in Madison County, you're done with the threat for this storm. It's continuing to move up to the northeast. Still got its little inflow notch. I guess I'm going to put a new tracker on this, all right, since we got a little bit of new data where we see the center of rotation is with that. It's got a really interesting pronounced little inflow notch there, and it's got some rotation. Again, it's just whatever, it's missing something. So I'm glad it is, though. So as this one went back in time, looked like it was from southeast of Jackson, so it's still, I think, going to ride the western side of this tornado warning. So I still think here's the communities that are most likely to be impacted if this continues to do much of anything as it comes on by. So then we'll get a closer look inside where we drew where the rotation zone is. So Hickory Flat, Halley, Scott Hill, Clarksburg, Jumbo, just west of Yuma, Dollar, Garrettsburg. Huntington, again, you're right on the edge. Probably more likely Brewston or Sandy Point if it continues to track up in that direction. So again, it really hasn't changed much in the last 45 minutes. It's just continuing to keep this tail here. I think if it was going to produce a tornado, it would have by now, because it's had ample opportunity to do so. We haven't seen it change much, and I think the further to the east it goes, I think the atmosphere is less conducive for tornadoes. So I think it's going to continue to spin here. It's still going to produce some gusty winds. Not seeing anything on the debris tracker. And it looks like it is going to maybe produce some hail as it moves up. I mean, it looks like a supercell. The problem is it's still got that northern cell too. So they really haven't completely merged yet. You still, look at there were still two storms. You can see them, and they're moving pretty much the same speed. The northern one's got no chance of doing anything anymore. The southern one still does, but I think the northern one is still messing with the dynamics for it to mature as a supercell. That's just bad. I don't think I've ever seen that many confirmed tornadoes at once in the same area. Oh man, I want that to weaken before it gets here. Again, we've got our one storm here. It's got its little tail, that line extending well to the north. Jordan, what kind of information are they saying about that western line right now? Because I mean, that is.
I mean,
shocking.
I'm looking at Weather Service chats. We've got pictures of a stovepipe tornado near Monette, Arkansas. What looks like a wedge that would have been earlier in its track when it was near Jonesboro. Several pictures of damage from the Pocahontas, Arkansas area. That storm would miss West Tennessee to the north. And they're still saying there's a tornado debris signature up to 10,000 feet in Mississippi County, Arkansas.
Wow. Okay. On Max 1, we've got 3 little cells as well that are starting to try to become interesting. So we're going to take a quick look at those. I'm going to set those up. You'll notice if we go back here, we've got the 3 little cells. They do have some lightning on them. Let me change this camera view up a little bit. It's given too much. All right, so I guess they're a little smaller when we get close on them, but they have lightning. So each one of these storms is a thunderstorm, and if we put it in the loop, they are the one near Covington, another one near Alamo. I mean, they're worth watching, but so far those are behaving. And but like, look at even this little guy. Look at him, tiny little storm trying to produce a tornado. See that little tail southwest of Maury City? I mean, that's the amount of rotation we have is about as maxed out as it can get. So even a little storm like that, with very little energy, it probably has 20 lightning strikes tops. Let's see, we'll turn on our lightning counter. Yeah, it's hardly got any lightning at all, but it's so much rotation that even a tiny little cell like that could produce a tornado today. Kind of looks like a dinosaur. See that guy right there? All right, so, but it looks like a little baby storm, but it's trying to produce a tornado. So the ingredients are still very high in our western counties for rotation. I don't know how much energy we got left, because that seems to be the problem with these ones is energy more than rotation. All right, might have some hail there showing up, a couple of the radars.
That hail shot is coming in from the Fort Campbell radar.
All right, so we've got Fort Campbell radar showing a little bit of hail. I'll pull up just the Fort Campbell radar itself. All right, so there's a look at that. So it looks like there's some hail trying to show up right along Highway 424 between Auction Lane and Dees Road. So heading into Clarksburg. So it looks like you got a little bit of hail on the way to Clarksburg. Heads up on that. Still a little notch there southeast of Jumbo. So again, now we'll kind of go back here a little bit and look at our 1 tornado warning here locally. That's why we're live on TV right now, although it'd be tough to ignore this. Plethora of tornadoes on the ground. We've got 3 little cells right now, one in Covington, Dyersburg, Alamo. Each one of these little cells are behaving themselves for the most part. This is a look at 3 different radars looking at it. You notice there's 3 different sections of the storm, how they're piling up like that. So it's definitely a tall storm. It's just a little one. Updrafts are huge today, by the way. We've got our little inflow notch coming into Clarksburg. I don't see any sort of sign of a tornado here, but there's definitely still some rotation. Probably some 40, maybe 50 mile an hour winds through this little section as it comes into Clarksburg. That's going to track up to the northeast. Again, I think the center of rotation is going through Clarksburg, but I think it stays east of Huntington. If you're watching us in any of these communities now, your threat is over from this storm. Jackson, we're in the clear from this one. But you do see there was some bright colors showing up there for a while as it's heading up near Clarksburg. So definitely rotating, not seeing anything on the debris tracker, but the warning still stays till it goes all the way up into Camden, crossing the Mississippi River. So again, a little supercell. Still that original one that's coming into Huntington right now. That's the first of the 2 storms, but the northern one is not doing anything. The southern one's still trying to rotate a little bit as it comes on by. Guess I'll step back up here, reset a couple of these graphics on our storm, and we'll hear from meteorologist Jordan Hubbard here for a minute. I'm going to grab some water. Jordan, go ahead.
Again, it's just, there's not a lot going on in Weather Service chat about our storm in Carroll and Henderson County. It's also probably the least impressive looking storm on all of the Memphis radars. You can see every single tornado warning west of the Mississippi River just about is pink. So at least radar confirmed, if not spotted. And we've had pictures from the Arkansas side of the river where there are some very strong, maybe even violent tornadoes on the ground with this system. But we're going to keep a very close eye on those because they're probably less than an hour from crossing the Mississippi River. We're starting to see actually maybe a hail signature pop up just to the south of Clarksburg on this one storm. Again, rotation almost not even there anymore. So if that's the case, this would become a hailer, maybe take a bit of a left turn, which would make it right along the western side of this warning polygon. So Huntington, Baruston, maybe want to keep an eye on this hail core, but the cell merger has been taking its time, which is a good thing. The longer it takes to merge, the less time it has to reorganize and produce some kind of severe weather, whether that be the winds, the hail, or a funnel cloud even. As the farther east these storms move, at least this one in Carroll County, the farther east it moves, the less favorable its environment will be for it to strengthen.
All right, thanks a lot, Jordan. Trying to look at it at our Camden radar, and again, as Jordan said, really not showing much for rotation with that storm as it's coming on through. Not seeing much of anything on the debris tracker, which is good. We'll keep an eye on that just in case. But definitely seeing what I think is a hail spike showing up on this. So we'll see. We'll watch it pretty closely here over the next 30 minutes till it moves out of our area, and then hopefully we'll get a small break, and then we can focus in on the main event stuff coming on in from behind. So, all right, looks like we're only getting 15 minutes of data on our debris tracker, and it looks like you think that's a hail spike, right?
Yeah,
Clarksburg, I think so.
Hardly any rotation.
Yep.
All
right,
and that's right where the hail was too. So
yeah, so got some hail concerns moving through there. There's the big picture. That's as many polygons as I've ever seen. Tornado warnings on the way. Hopefully they get caught again by that line before they get here. But our tornado watch is out till midnight. It's still that PDS tornado watch. Particular dangerous situation continues tonight. Although there are many locations that haven't seen anything yet, don't let off your guard. That's usually the case when you get supercells out in front of a line, but those ones are impacting almost everyone. They're intense, and they've got just enough distance apart. Our Dyersburg storm here is producing a little bit of tail. So let's go ahead and see if that one's doing anything. It's a baby storm, but as I said, these little babies don't take much when you have the amount of shear we're dealing with currently. So we'll see if there's anything to that one. It's got one lightning strike, but probably a little bit of rotation showing up. Yeah, a little bit southwest of Dyersburg. So see that? It could produce maybe a baby tornado. So I mean, it's pretty crazy the atmosphere right now, and that's why we had that high risk for severe weather. We'll get back to Dyersburg here in a minute. It's not tornado warned, little baby guy. This one is a little bigger, little rotation near Clarksburg. Watching us, Huntington, no tornado threat for you. I think it stays just south of you from Clarksburg, tracking on by. Again, still a little bit of rotation between Clarksburg and Wildersville. Whatever this storm, it just doesn't have what it's needed so far to produce a tornado. But every time we look at it on the radar, looks like it should have a tornado warning tag on it. It's got a hook. It's got some at least mid-level rotation showing up. but it's just struggling to produce a tornado. If it had a tornado, somebody would have seen it, because it's in an area where, if you look north, look at that, you can definitely see it as it's heading between Clarksburg and Wildersville. I don't know why they haven't trimmed Madison County out of the polygon. Actually, I know exactly why they haven't trimmed Madison County out of the polygon, because they've got 6 tornadoes on the ground that they're dealing with west of the Mississippi. But no one in Madison County is under a concern for a tornado warning again. So looks like we've got a new, maybe a severe thunderstorm issued. Let's see what that one's for.
That's for Dyer and Lake.
All right, so that is a severe thunderstorm warning, though, not a tornado warning.
Correct.
Which is great, but the reason that might be is because you see those supercells. I'm going to go back to the last hour, and the line is starting to catch them a little bit. So we'll go back to this very slow. We'll put this in motion. So basically, you see all these supercells that were lined up that had their own energy. Right? When they started, they were individual storms. Now they're beginning to come together, and they're stealing from each other. So like ours, what happened with ours? They're no longer have their own environment. So we got this, and the line coming up from behind it. So there's probably still a tour possible. Again, we still had some tornadoes confirmed here, but we're starting to see a lot of the pink boxes and the black boxes go away. Jordan, anything that I'm missing that you want to talk about the Dyersburg severe thunderstorm, what it's all got?
We can do that. I can also tell you they've allowed the tornado warning for Carroll, Decatur, and Benton County to expire.
Oh,
so,
all right.
We're
All right, so we're going to head back to regular programming since we no longer have any tornado warnings. We will continue to watch this storm, and when the storms begin to move across the Mississippi into our viewing area, we'll be back. But we're going to take a little bit of a break on TV. We'll do an online update on Facebook here in about 15 minutes, as well as our YouTube channel. But we're heading back to regular TV right now.